Chapter 157. Facing this barrage of attacks, Tang Zheng could only helplessly pull out Battle Soul. With a flash of light, a large number of sword images appeared, ping ping pang. The stone fragments were all blocked and fell to the ground. Tang Zheng was completely unscathed. Then, he swung his sword downwards with a terrifying aura. Huang Xiang's eyes flashed with astonishment as he had never seen Tang Zheng's sword before. At the same time, he hurriedly dodged. Gotcha! Battle Soul fell on the floor, creating a crack that extended from the center of the hall to Huang Xi's feet. It was like a spirit snake. Pang! Huang Xi stamped his foot on the ground, causing the cracks to abruptly stop. If he had not used his own strength to block this sword, who knows how far this force would have traveled. His eyes turned cold as he stared at Tang Zheng and said, "What a powerful sword technique." Huang Xiang's eyes flashed as he pounced forward. His 5 fingers formed a claw and the air seemed to be torn apart as he quickly attacked Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng used his heaven-flying immortal sword technique and Battle Soul welcomed the attack. The nimble sword technique made Huang Xiang not dare to approach. "You think this is enough to stop me? Don't even think about it." Huang Xiang roared as both of his hands pierced through the sword light. Isn't he afraid of being cut off? Tang Zheng was puzzled, but in the next second, he knew what his opponent was relying on. With a ding-dang sound, Battle Soul slashed at his arm, creating a burst of sparks. It turns out that his arms were covered with stainless steel, no wonder he was so fearless. Huang Xiang's face flashed with hostility as he proudly said, "Now you know how powerful I am." Tang Zheng coldly snorted as he attacked with his sword. Immediately, the ding-dang sound rang out incessantly as the two dodged. All that could be seen was sparks bursting out and shadows flipping. In this large hall, only the two of them were left. Huang Xi finally let out a sigh of relief and secretly said, "Xi Yang's martial arts is indeed powerful. In time, he will surpass me. In the future, I will be relieved to hand over my family business to him." After a fierce battle, both of them fought more and more valiantly. However, their consumption was considerable. After all, Huang Xiang's cultivation was stronger and he gradually gained the upper hand. However, Tang Zheng's otherworldly flying immortal swordsmanship was not an undeserved reputation. It made Huang Xiang hesitate to attack, so he was temporarily unable to obtain victory. "We can't go on like this. We have to find a way to break through." Tang Zheng pondered. Suddenly, he had a flash of inspiration. Yes, use the body lock technique. Tang Zheng was worried about exposing his identity as a cultivator, so he had never used this spell on anyone before. But now he couldn't care less. Moreover, one of the advantages of this spell was that the other party would mistake it as a pressure point technique and wouldn't connect it to his identity as a cultivator. Thus, when the two of them were once again close to each other, Tang Zheng silently chanted an incantation. Heaven and earth's spiritual energy slightly vibrated and rapidly attacked Huang Xiang's pressure point. Huang Xiang's attack came to an abrupt halt in front of Tang Zheng. His eyes were filled with disbelief as he roared, "What's going on?" Pressure point technique. He clearly discovered that Tang Zheng was not even close to his body, yet his pressure point was still sealed. This was truly unheard of. Tang Zheng did not give him any time to be shocked. He casually grabbed him and placed Battle Soul's sharp blade on his neck. Huang Xi originally had an expression of watching a good show, but upon seeing this scene, he jumped up from his chair and was inexplicably shocked. Air pressure point technique. Tang Zheng curled his lips. This was a body lock technique. What air pressure point technique? This guy doesn't know what's good for him. Huang Xi was still in a state of shock as he asked again, "Who exactly are you? How can a 6th grade body refinement cultivator use air pressure point technique? Isn't air pressure point technique a high-level martial art that only great scholars can use?" Tang Jing coldly laughed. Why do you care so much? The most important thing is that your son is now in my hands. Huang Si turned a deaf ear to his words and shook his head. Impossible. A 6th-grade body refinement cultivator who knows how to use pressure points through the air is unheard of. Who taught you that? Who is your master? Could he be a martial scholar? Huang Si's heart began to feel apprehensive. If Tang Jing had a great scholar realm master, then this matter would be difficult to deal with. Although he had always been conceited, in front of a great scholar realm master, he was nothing. His opponent could crush him to death with a single finger. If he were to kill a great scholar realm master's disciple, then when the matter was investigated, not only would Huang Si die, but the entire Huang clan would also be annihilated. This was something he was most unwilling to see. But he and Tang Jing were in a situation where only one of them would die. If he did not kill Tang Jing, then when his master arrived, the Huang clan would also be annihilated. What to do, what to do? Huang Si's heart was in a mess. Even if Tang Jing's backer was Yi Tianlei, he would not be so worried. Now that he knew that Tang Jing had a great scholar behind him, his intestines were green with regret. Why didn't he investigate properly before making his move? Seeing him remain silent and his expression constantly changing, Tang Jing suspiciously asked, "What are you thinking about? If you want to make your move, then hurry up. Don't dilly-dally." Huang Si fiercely raised his head, an ominous glint in his eyes. "Tang Jing, you really want to fight to the death with me?" Tang Jing coldly laughed. "Things have already reached this point, do you think we can still shake hands and make peace? Moreover, Fire Phoenix's husband was killed by you. I also want to take revenge for him. Since that is the case, then don't blame me for being ruthless." Huang Si had already made his decision. With a low roar, he charged forward like a ghost. Before Tang Jing could react, he had already arrived in front of him. With a grab of his hand, the space in front of Tang Jing seemed to have been sucked away, causing him to feel suffocated. This was the might of a 9th-grade natal stage master. Tang Jing had previously exchanged blows with Yi Tianlei, but Yi Tianlei had intentionally suppressed his strength. Tang Jing did not have such a deep feeling. This time, Huang Si had used all of his strength to kill Tang Jing in one strike. Tang Jing was overwhelmed with shock. This kind of expert was not someone he could contend against. He hurriedly used the puppet-like Huang Xiang to block in front of his chest. Suddenly, he felt his hands become empty. Huang Xiang had actually been taken away by Huang Si. Damn it, so Huang Si's move was just a feint. His main goal was to save Huang Xiang. Tang Jing did not counterattack. Instead, he hurriedly retreated. As expected, Huang Si lifted his son with one hand and swept out with his leg. It really had the power to sweep away 1,000 soldiers. Tang Jing did not dare to use his body to block this attack like he did with Hoodlum. He hurriedly retreated and waved Battle Spirit in front of his chest. So, a black sword light shot out from Battle Spirit like a raging black flame. Huang Si was shocked. He stopped his attack and exclaimed, "What is this?" Tang Jing sneered. Of course he would not tell him that this was his treasure. Just now when he was fighting with Huang Xiang, he had purposely suppressed Battle Spirit's light. Now that it was released, although it was black, it was still very eye-catching. Treasure sword, this is a real treasure sword. Father, you must snatch it. Huang Xiang shouted in surprise. Huang Si had never seen such a treasure sword before. He was both surprised and happy. If he had this treasure, then even if he were to fight with Yi Tianlei, he would not be defeated. This treasure sword in your hands is like casting pearls before swine. Give it to me. Huang Si reached out with his hand, wanting to snatch Battle Spirit. But how could Tang Jing let him do as he wished? With a flick of his wrist, a sword light shot out. This sword light was much more powerful than the previous one. It intertwined into a black sword light that emitted an aura of death. Battle Spirit even let out a resounding sword cry, like the cry of a dragon or tiger. Huang Xi's face was filled with indescribable shock. This treasure sword far exceeded his imagination. He must obtain it. Immediately, he used all of his strength. In an instant, Tang Zheng's face was filled with afterimages. This was the essence of the spring kick. Hoodlum had only scratched the surface. Tang Zheng could not see his opponent's figure clearly. He could only wave battle spirit while retreating. I wonder if the body lock technique will have any effect on him. Tang Zheng thought. But since he could not see Huang Xi's figure, he could not chant the incantation to attract the heaven and earth spiritual qi to attack his meridians. Tang Zheng bitterly held on. But the difference between the two of them was too great. Pang! A kick landed on his body and he flew out like a kite with a broken string. So. A figure flashed as Huang Xi finally appeared from the shadows of his legs and flew towards Tang Zheng, grabbing the battle spirit sword in his hands. Tang Zheng's entire body was in pain. It was as if his bones were about to fall apart. Huang Xi's spring kick was indeed powerful. Seeing that Huang Xi was already in front of him, he was about to grab battle spirit. Now's the time. Body lock technique. Tang Zheng endured the pain and silently chanted the incantation. The heaven and earth spiritual qi rushed towards Huang Xi's meridians. Huang Xi was in midair when his body suddenly froze and fell to the ground. His expression changed abruptly, and he roared loudly. Crackle, 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 crackle sounds rang out from within his body, and then he regained his freedom. All of the heaven and earth spiritual qi was actually forced out by him, causing the body lock technique to lose its effect, but Tang Zheng also took advantage of this short period of time to steadily land on the ground and retreat far away. War Soul's sword was held horizontally in front of his chest as he cautiously looked at the opponent. Huang Xi's face was extremely gloomy, but he was extremely excited. It really is the air pressure point strike. Powerful, powerful. He gasped for breath as if he could not suppress the excitement in his heart. No wonder you are so fearless. So you have such a high-level martial art. Tang Zheng, I will catch you. I must catch you. As long as I learn this high-level martial art, who cares about Yi Tianlei? Even Feng Xinyang together will not be my match. All of them will die. Huang Xi's eyes gradually glowed like a pervert seeing a peerless beauty. He did not hide his desire. Tang Zheng sneered, wishful thinking. The heavens are really helping me, Huang Biao. Little brat, your void pressure point strike is still too weak. If your cultivation was just a bit higher, your void pressure point strike would have been able to control me. Huang Xi said fearlessly. Tang Zheng was filled with hatred. If his cultivation was high enough, he would be able to draw in more heaven and earth spiritual qi. He would not even need to fight and Huang Xi would be completely under his control. Why would he need to run for his life and kill here and there? Huang Xi once again launched an attack. This time he was even more careful. Inner qi filled his meridians to guard against Tang Zheng's air pressure point strike. Chapter 158. Huang Xi's attacks became even more ferocious and Tang Zheng was unable to dodge. He shouted in his heart, Tian Chanzi, if you don't show your trump card, I will be caught by him. Tian Chanzi laughed. What are you panicking for? The show has just begun. Go towards Huang Xiang. Tang Zheng rushed towards Huang Xiang. Huang Xiang was unable to move and could only watch helplessly as Tang Zheng rushed towards him. Huang Xi's eyes were about to split open as he shouted, You dare to sneak attack my son, you are courting death. Huang Xi moved later but was the first to arrive. He actually stood in front of Huang Xiang to protect him. Hee, now is the time. Retreat. Tian Chanzi proudly commanded. Although Tang Jing did not understand what was going on, he immediately retreated. Suddenly, he saw an inconceivable scene. Huang Xi's back was facing Huang Xiang and he did not notice the strange change in Huang Xiang's eyes. Huang Xiang's eyes lost their spirit and became sluggish. Huang Xi then moved and pushed his palms forward. Pang! A thunderous sound rang out as the two palms viciously landed on Huang Xi's back. Huang Xi staggered forward as he spat out a mouthful of blood. His face turned deathly pale. He turned his head in fear and was shocked to discover that the two palms were from his own son. His liver and gallbladder were torn apart and he was inexplicably shocked. What is going on? Percent is not equal to Huang Xiang actually attacked Huang Xi. Not only was Huang Xi baffled, but Tang Jing was also confused. He was dumbstruck as this scene of a father and son killing each other was too strange. He did not dare to believe that this was real. This is a good show. Tian Chanzi proudly laughed. Tang Zheng was puzzled. Could it be that Huang Xiang had gone crazy? What is going on? Didn't I tell you that Huang Xiang's martial arts have side effects? This is the side effect. Tian Chanzi boasted. Could it be that the side effect is going berserk? Of course not. Going berserk is child's play. Tian Chanzi, do not make a move, but when I make a move, it will be different. He's under the effects of the puppet technique. Puppet spell. Tang Zheng had never heard of this spell, so he was confused. The puppet technique is to control his mind and turn him into a puppet. From then on, you can do whatever you want. The martial arts I gave him are the puppet cultivation martial arts. As long as he reaches the Ho Tian realm, I can use the puppet technique to control him. Tang Jing shivered. This Tian Chanzi was much more ruthless than him. Sure enough, no one in the cultivation world was easy to deal with. When Tang Jing dealt with his enemies, the most he would do was to kill them. However, Tian Chanzi turned his enemies into his puppets. Not only would they not die, but they would also work for him. This was much more ruthless than killing them directly. Little brat, don't think that I am ruthless. The cultivation world is a world where the strong preys on the weak. If you are too kind, you will only be killed. In the cultivation world, there are massacres every day. Remember, only by surviving can you be the final victor. Moreover, being merciful to your enemies is being cruel to yourself. Have you forgotten that Huang Xiang wanted to kill you? Tian Chanzi warned. Tang Jing did not say a word, but he had to admit that Tian Chanzi's words were true. Huang Xiang wanted to kill him first so he could not be blamed. Seeing that Tang Jing did not have any thoughts of being soft-hearted, Tian Chanzi was relieved. He praised, that is the correct way of thinking. Huang Xi was hit by 2 palms. He won't die, but his threat is greatly reduced. The pressure on you is temporarily relieved. Tang Zheng let out a sigh of relief. He looked at Huang Xi who had already climbed up from the ground. He stared at his son in disbelief. Xiang, why did you sneak attack me? Huang Xi did not bother to wipe the blood from his mouth as he asked. Huang Xiang, however, remained indifferent as he walked towards Tang Jing. Little brat, don't be afraid. He is now my puppet and will not harm you. He is now your helper. Tian Chanzi said. Huang Xiang quietly stood by Tang Zheng's side, both of his eyes looking straight ahead, as if he was really a puppet. Huang Xi looked at his son and then looked at Tang Jing. He seemed to have thought of something as he angrily roared, Tang Jing, what did you do to my son? Tang Jing spread out his hands. It was not him who did anything, but Tian Chanzi who did it. What benefits did you promise him to make him attack me? Huang Xi was still unable to restrain his anger as he asked. Xiang, come back. No matter what benefits he gave you, I will return it to you in double. Huang Si said. Huang Xiang was indifferent. Tang Jing, I can only blame myself for not killing you. Even if Yi Tianlei came to stop me, I should have killed you. Huang Si was filled with regret. Huang Si, you are used to being high and mighty and do not put other people's lives in your eyes. There is also your son Huang Xiang. I only fought a few matches and he coveted my martial arts. He wanted to kill me and steal my martial arts. He did not even hesitate to kidnap my family. Hang, now it is your turn. Now you know the pain, but it is too late. There is no medicine for regret in this world. Tang Jing thought back to the time when his grandfather was almost destroyed by Huang Xiang. He still had a stomach full of anger. In the past, the Huang clan did not put him in their eyes and did not treat his life as their own. This was the reason for the current situation. They could not blame Tang Jing. If they wanted to blame someone, they could only blame themselves. Huang Si was speechless. The killing intent in his eyes intensified as he roared, "No matter what kind of bewitching potion you fed him, as long as I kill you, there will be no more problems. When the time comes, I will kill your family too. Everyone related to you, they will all die." Tang Zhang's eyes also flashed with killing intent. "Since that is the case, then I will kill you first. Hand over your life." Huang Si roared and rushed forward. Before Tang Jing could move, Huang Xiang had already rushed forward. His movements were faster than before and his attacks were more ferocious. After he becomes a puppet, his attack power will increase. Tian Chanzi explained. Tang Jing nodded his head and did not move. He quietly watched the scene unfold before him. The two of them quickly began to fight. The entire hall looked like it was crushed by a heavy machine. It was a complete mess. The commotion here was too big. Dozens of people rushed over after hearing the news. When they saw the father and son fighting each other, they were all stunned and did not dare to step forward. "Kill that brat Tang Jing for me," Huang Si angrily ordered. Immediately, everyone brandished their weapons and attacked Tang Jing. Facing these ordinary thugs, although there were many of them, Tang Jing was not afraid at all. Those who attacked him were all knocked to the ground. Kill! Suddenly, an earth-shattering battle cry sounded from outside the old house. Then, a large group of people rushed in with Fire Phoenix and Lin Hu at the front. When the two of them heard the commotion outside, they gathered their subordinates and rushed in. They definitely could not let anything happen to Tang Jing. Unknowingly, Tang Jing had already become their backbone. But when they rushed in and saw the scene before them, their jaws dropped to the ground. The one fighting with Huang Si was not Tang Jing but Huang Xiang. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix looked at each other, unable to comprehend the situation. "Let's deal with this group of people first," Lin Hu said. Fire Phoenix nodded her head and led her subordinates to charge over, knocking the people around Tang Jing to the ground. Immediately, the hall quietened down as everyone stared at the strange battle unfolding before them. Lin Hu asked in a low voice, "Young Master Tang, what is going on here?" Tang Jing shook his head and said, "How did you guys come in?" "We heard the commotion. That old fox Huang Si is very cunning. We were worried about your safety so we rushed in," Lin Hu explained. Fire Phoenix excitedly said, "It seems like our worries were unnecessary. Young Master Tang really has a way. He actually made this pair of big and small foxes fight each other. This Huang Xiang is really powerful. His progress is too fast. He can actually contend with that old fox. Could it be that he is also a 9th grade natal stage? That can't be right." Lin Hu stared with wide eyes at the fierce battle between the two and could not help but sigh. Huang Xiang is a first-grade natal stage, but Huang Xi is already heavily injured, so the two of them are evenly matched. Tang Jing explained. Fire Phoenix glared at Huang Xi, the anger in her eyes surging upwards as she thought of her dead husband. Young Master Tang, I will go help. We must definitely kill that old fox. Fire Phoenix said while gnashing her teeth. Tang Jing shook his head and said, Don't act rashly. Your cultivations are too low. If you go, you will only give Huang Xi a chance to counterattack. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix looked at each other and lowered their heads in shame. Seeing this, Tang Jing knew that he had hit their weak spot. These two could be considered experts to normal people, but to true experts, they were too weak. When we return, I will give you two a set of martial arts. You two can figure it out yourselves. It should be able to increase your cultivation. Tang Jing prepared to give the martial arts that he had given to Feng Yong to the two. The two raised their heads in surprise and looked at Tang Jing eagerly and gratefully said, Thank you, young Master Tang. Huang Xiang became more and more courageous as he fought. Even after taking a few kicks, he did not shrink back as if he did not know pain. This was a true puppet. It did not feel pain, nor did it have any emotions. It only followed its master's orders unconditionally. Huang Xi, on the other hand, became weaker and weaker as his injuries flared up. He had already taken a few hits from Huang Xiang and he gradually discovered something strange. Huang Xiang's eyes were lifeless as if he did not remember him. Moreover, every move was a killing move. Xiang, quickly wake up. What happened to you? Huang Xi roared, but Huang Xiang turned a deaf ear to him. Huang Xi suddenly turned his head and saw Tang Jing and the others and roared, Lin Hu, Fire Phoenix, you two also came. Do you think that with Tang Jing you can defeat me? Lin Hu coldly smiled and said, Huang Xi, if we don't defeat you, will you not deal with us? In the ordinary balance, everything had to be done according to your wishes. I, your father, have had enough of this kind of life. Fire Phoenix angrily said, Huang Xi, that year you killed my husband. Today I will kill you. Is that not the right thing to do? Fire Phoenix, the year I should have listened to Hoodlum's advice and killed you. I did not think that I would have nurtured a tiger. Huang Xi said regretfully. Hang, today you will not be able to kill me. I will kill you. While Huang Xi was distracted, Huang Xiang's attack arrived. One claw clawed at Huang Xi's back, tearing out a piece of flesh. The other palm struck Huang Xi's chest, causing him to fly out like a cloud. Chapter 159. Huang Xi flew towards the entrance of the hall and turned his head to look at Huang Xiang. His eyes were filled with despair as he did not know why his son would want to kill him. Now that he was heavily injured and Tang Jing was glaring at him from the side, he could not continue to stay here or else he would die. Huang Xi did not want to die, he wanted to escape and then take revenge. Thus, he borrowed the momentum to fly out. Grabbing onto the eaves, he leapt up to the roof. The sound of footsteps could be heard from the roof. The old fox wants to escape. Fire Phoenix was shocked. If he managed to escape, then there would be a lot of trouble in the future. Being watched by a 9th grade natal stage expert hiding in the shadows, no one would be able to live a peaceful life. If he were to attack them one by one, no one would be able to block his attacks and all their previous efforts would be for naught. Chase! Tang Jing let out a deep roar, and with a push from the pillars of the hall, he and Huang Xiang flew up to the roof at the same time, stepping on the tiles as they quickly chased after each other. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix left behind a few of their younger brothers to watch over Huang Xi's men before they also rushed out of the old house and chased after them. From afar, they could see that under the moonlight, the three of them were like cheetahs as they rushed towards the forest not far away. As long as Huang Xi rushed into that small forest, then it would really be like finding a needle in a haystack. Tang Jing obviously saw through his intentions and shouted, "Quick, don't let him escape." He and Huang Xiang simultaneously increased their speed. Huang Xi was like a stray dog as he madly ran, not daring to stop. Looking back at the approaching pursuers, he clenched his teeth and also increased his speed to the limit. So. At this time, Lin Hu and the rest could only see the three leaving behind afterimages as their speed was incomparable. Both sides were separated by 100 meters. Seeing that Huang Xi was about to enter the forest, Tang Jing knew that he could not wait any longer. Stealing his heart, he simply raised Battle Soul and used all his strength to throw it forward. So. A piercing sound rang out as the air was torn apart. Battle Soul shone with a black light as it shot towards Huang Xi like a gigantic concealed weapon. The speed of the War Soul sword was faster than everyone else. In the blink of an eye, it streaked across the night sky. The dark sword seemed to have blended into the night sky. If not for the sound of breaking through the air, it would have been hard to detect. Huang Xi heard a gust of wind behind him and turned around to look. Battle Soul was already 5 meters away from him. If he did not take any countermeasures, he would be pierced through. He had no way to continue forward, so he had no choice but to dodge to the side. The War Soul sword brushed past his shoulder, and it was extremely dangerous. Gotcha! The War Soul sword cut through the trunk of a large tree in front of him and fiercely stabbed into a rock. Cracks quickly spread out on the rock and in an instant, it burst open and shot in all directions. Taking advantage of this momentary delay, Tang Jing and Huang Ziyang had already caught up to Huang Xi. Huang Xi was shocked as his eyes inadvertently fell on the battle spirit and his eyes lit up. Treasured sword. With this exceptional treasured sword, his battle strength would instantly increase. The threat of Tang Jing and Huang Ziyang would no longer be a concern. Huang Xi threw himself forward and rolled on the ground, grasping the War Soul sword in his hands. The cold sword hilt caused his spirit to soar. He did not continue to run but instead stood there proudly. Under the moonlight, his face was filled with malevolence as he glared at the two people charging at him. The treasured sword is in my hands. Tang Jing, you are dead. Just what kind of demonic technique did you use to confuse Ziyang? Quickly turn him back. Huang Xi held the sword in one hand and pointed it at Tang Jing, threatening him with a murderous aura. Tang Jing and Huang Ziyang both stopped and stared at Huang Xi. Tang Jing hesitated for a moment before saying, "Puppet technique, have you heard of it?" Puppet technique. Huang Xi's face was filled with doubt as he had never heard of it before. However, the name was easy to understand. Are you saying that my son has become your puppet? It is Tian Chanzi's puppet. Tang Jing said but did not deny it. What kind of technique is this? I have never heard of it before. Tang Jing shook his head and said, in this world, there are many things that you have never heard of. Little brat, did your master teach you all of this? Tang Jing declined to comment. If I kill you now, I will kill your damned master in the future. Huang Xi leapt forward. The War Soul sword in his hand did not emit a black light but it was still filled with killing intent. At this moment, Huang Xi felt like he was an invincible god of war. His heart was filled with an indescribable self-confidence as his eyes widened and he gave a deafening roar. Kill! Tang Jing did not dodge and instead charged forward. Huang Ziyang also attacked, one from the left and one from the right, forming a pincer attack. Huang Xi acted as if he did not see it. With the treasured sword in hand, what did he have to fear? Shwa! The biting cold sword pierced straight towards Tang Jing but Tang Jing did not stop and instead reached out to grab the War Soul sword. Huang Xi was overjoyed as this sword would definitely cut off Tang Jing's arm. Then he would have nothing to worry about. Lin Hu, Fire Phoenix, and the others saw this scene from afar and turned pale with fright. They loudly shouted, "Young Master Tang, be careful. Would Tang Jing really take the risk? Of course not. Was the War Soul Sword an ordinary treasured sword? Of course not. The War Soul Sword was a treasure and Tang Jing was its master. Both parties were connected, and with a thought from Tang Jing, the War Soul Sword's attack came to an abrupt halt as if it was blocked by an invisible force. Huang Si was shocked as he used all of his strength to stab forward, but the War Soul Sword did not move an inch. Tang Zhang's hand was already on the blade of the sword, but his hand was not cut off. Suddenly, the War Soul Sword blazed with a black light, and began to tremble with a buzzing sound. A sword cry that sounded like a tiger's roar and a dragon's roar resounded in all directions. Huang Si was originally full of confidence and was determined to win, but upon seeing the scene, he was shocked. Especially the feeling that came from War Spirit. Although he was still holding on to War Spirit, it was completely out of his control. A huge force was transmitted from the sword hilt to his hand, causing his 5 fingers to involuntarily loosen as he watched the War Soul Sword land in Tang Zhang's hand. He felt as if the War Soul Sword had a soul and was not like an ordinary treasured sword. At this moment, he felt as if his liver and guts were about to burst. How could this be? Huang Si roared. Tang Jing coldly smiled. This is not a treasure that you can control. Huang Si did not understand the true meaning of this sentence because Huang Xiang's attack had already reached him from the other side. With a pincer attack from the left and right, he had no way to retreat. Even if I die, I will kill you. Huang Si suddenly pounced towards Tang Jing as if he had gone mad. His legs flew over and in a flash, Tang Jing was enveloped in them. But there was someone faster than him. Huang Xiang's fist struck out and ruthlessly slammed into Huang Si's back. This palm strike contained all of his strength and was enough to shatter stone. With a crisp sound, Huang Si staggered and fell at Tang Zhang's feet. The sky full of leg shadows disappeared without a trace. Fire Phoenix and Lin who saw this unfathomable scene and were both shocked. Tang Zhang's ability to snatch a white blade with his bare hands was too shocking and convincing, and Huang Xiang's ruthlessness and decisiveness caused them to tremble in fear. Seeing Huang Si lying on the ground motionless, the few of them quickly rushed over. Tang Zhang looked down at Huang Si. Huang Si spat out a mouthful of blood which dyed the ground in front of him red. The life in his eyes was slowly fading away. The 2 palms just now were killing moves and had already shattered his heart meridians. There was no way to reverse the situation. Huang Xiang remained expressionless as if everything that had happened had nothing to do with him. He made Lin Hu and the others who had caught up to hide far away from him. This was too strange and had exceeded their imaginations. Tang Jing, I am not satisfied. I should have killed you earlier. I should have killed all of you earlier. Huang Si spat out a mouthful of blood as he continuously shouted. Fire Phoenix angrily said, that year when you killed my husband you should have known that this day would come. You only have yourself to blame. Huang Si glanced at her and said, I do not regret it. At the very least, I have lived longer than that dead husband of yours. I was able to rule over Chongqing City and he did not. I am simply stronger than him, ah. You will never be stronger than him. I will always remember him, but in this world, no one will remember you. Fire Phoenix flew into a rage and ruthlessly kicked Huang Si. Huang Si rolled over and his cries came to an abrupt end. All that was left was a series of rapid breathing sounds. Fire Phoenix was very emotional, her eyes filled with tears as she said, Young Master Tang, let me personally kill him. Let me do it. Lin Hu also indignantly requested. Tang Jing shook his head and ordered Huang Xiang, you go. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix were startled as they stared at Huang Xiang, as if they wanted to see what kind of reaction he would have. They were also very curious about the relationship between Tang Jing and Huang Xiang. They only saw Huang Xiang expressionlessly walk towards Huang Xi, without a trace of resistance. Huang Xiang squatted down and grabbed Huang Xi's head with both hands. Huang Xi's eyes widened as he angrily roared, "No, I don't want to die, gotcha." His cries came to an abrupt end as his neck was broken by Huang Xiang. This ordinary balanced underworld boss had ended his life, just like how he ended the lives of others. Sooner or later, he would have to pay for what he did. Woo woo woo. Suddenly, Fire Phoenix squatted on the ground and wailed, "Huang Xi is finally dead. I have avenged you. Do you see? Your spirit in heaven can now rest in peace." Lin Hu let out a long sigh and patted her shoulder. Fire Phoenix sobbed, completely lacking the ruthlessness a boss should have. However, at this time, no one would force her as this was the truest expression of her emotions. Fire Phoenix's cries gradually stopped as she turned towards Tang Zhang and firmly said, "Young Master Tang, you have avenged my husband. From today onwards, I, Fire Phoenix, will be at your disposal." Tang Zhang hurriedly supported her and said, "Everyone will work hard together in the future. We will definitely have a more glorious future." Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix nodded their heads at the same time. "We pledge our lives to follow young Master Tang. Even if we have to go through mountains of blades or seas of flames, we will not hesitate." In this battle, Tang Zhang made Fire Phoenix truly submit to him. This was not only a relationship of benefits but also a type of subservience that strengthened the relationship between both sides. From this moment onwards, Tang Zhang became the true leader of Changheng's underworld and sat on the top seat. Chapter 160. After leaving someone to deal with Huang Xi's corpse, Tang Jing, Lin Hu, and the others returned to the city by car. The atmosphere in the car was a bit strange. Tang Jing sat in the middle with Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix beside him. Huang Xiang sat alone in the last row, not making a sound, even his breathing was very light. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix would occasionally turn their heads to look at Huang Xiang, only to see that his eyes were tightly shut as if he was asleep. However, the two knew that he was definitely not asleep and could explode at any time to injure them. The key point was that his relationship with Tang Jing was very similar to that of a servant and a master. They did not look like collaborators at all, much less the high and mighty young Master Huang from before. How did Tang Jing manage to do this? The two were puzzled. Fire Phoenix gave Lin Hu a look and Lin Hu hesitated for a moment before asking, "Young Master Tang, how should we deal with him?" Tang Jing did not turn his head and lightly said, "You guys find a place to put him in order and provide him with food and drink. Don't worry about anything else, he won't run around randomly. But he is Huang Xiang, the famous young Master Huang. Who knows how many people have fallen at his hands? He is also a first-grade natal stage cultivator. What if he hurts someone?" Lin Hu carefully asked in an almost inaudible voice, as if he was afraid that Huang Xiang's six would hear him. Of course, Tang Zheng could not explain that Huang Xiang was a puppet, so he patted Lin Hu's shoulder and comforted him, "Don't worry, he won't cause trouble. He will only train and won't do anything else." This was what Tian Chanzi told him. Since Huang Xiang had already become a puppet, then there was only one thing he could do, which was to train and raise his cultivation, and then carry out his master's orders. Seeing Tang Zheng's solemn vow, the two did not dare to doubt him. However, they felt that Tang Zheng was even more unfathomable and admired him even more. The next day, when Tang Zheng went to school after a good night's sleep, he met Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang at the entrance. The two's faces were very serious as they purposely sent Yi Dingdang away and then stared at Tang Zheng. "What's the matter?" Tang Zheng suspiciously asked. Looking at the two's expressions, there must be something big. Yi Tianlei said in a deep voice, "Huang Xi is dead, Huang Xiang is missing." Tang Zheng stared blankly for a moment. So it was this matter, and he thought it was something big. Feng Xinyang said, "Little handsome brother, Huang Xi's death is too strange. It is said that he was killed by someone from the underworld. However, Huang Xi's cultivation is at the 9th grade natal stage. In the ordinary balance, there is no one who is his opponent. As for Huang Xiang, it is said that he has already broken through to the 1st grade natal stage. You and Huang Xiang have a conflict and we are worried that he will do something to you, so we came to remind you not to run around. If you don't mind, you can come to our house to stay for a few days." Feng Xinyang's concern was expressed in her words. It was really like the concern of a husband and a mother for their future son-in-law. "In a while, I will be going to Beijing. Ding Dang will also be going to Beijing to study in the future. Therefore, it is best that you get into a school in Beijing for the college entrance exams. In the future, when you go to Beijing, we can take care of each other. Even if Huang Xiang wants to do something, he will still have some restraints." Yi Tianlei said. Tang Jing felt a warmth in his heart. This family really cared for him. He thought for a while and decided not to hide anything. He directly said, "When Huang Xi died, I was at the scene." "What?" The husband and wife were both shocked. "What happened?" "Huang Xi wanted to kill me, so I killed him." "No, he was killed by Huang Xiang. Right now Huang Xiang is one of my people, but it is not convenient for him to show himself," Tang Zheng said after some consideration. He still could not reveal the matter of his puppet technique to the public. It was too shocking. But this also caused the husband and wife to be stunned. If you asked who the Ya family's biggest opponent in the ordinary balance was, it would undoubtedly be Huang Xi. The two sides had been fighting openly and secretly for many years. Now Yi Tianlei, for some unknown reason, was preparing to let Yi Tianlei return to Beijing. Although Feng Xinyang was not willing, she could only accept it. Therefore, Yi Tianlei did not pay much attention to Huang Xi. Who would have thought that Huang Xi would die like this, and even be killed by Tang Jing? The two looked at each other. Their brains were not enough to process this. They stared straight at Tang Jing, confirming that he was not joking. "Little handsome brother, Huang Xi is a 9th grade natal stage cultivator. I heard that you are a 6th grade refining body. How did you kill him?" Feng Xinyang asked in bewilderment. "It was Huang Xiang who caught him off guard. He injured him and then killed him." "How did Huang Xiang kill Huang Xi?" This question was even more puzzling. Tang Jing shook his head and smiled mysteriously. He did not say anything. The husband and wife knew that this definitely involved Tang Zheng's secret, so it was not convenient for them to ask. However, the two people's hearts were already in a perilous situation. Their gazes towards Tang Jing changed again and again. Yi Tianlei patted Tang Zheng's shoulder and said earnestly, "Then you are saying that the people in the ordinary balance underworld are all yours. You are that mysterious young Master Tang. That is just something they call me for fun." Tang Zheng laughed involuntarily. He did not expect that they would also hear of this name. The new generation is replacing the old. It seems that I really am getting old. Yi Tianlei sighed. This kind of thing was really unimaginable, but Tang Jing did it. Of course, there was definitely a secret that could not be revealed. However, this showed that Tang Zheng's mysteriousness far exceeded his expectations. Feng Xinyang's eyes gradually lit up. She stared at Tang Jing with a burning gaze and asked, "Little handsome brother, how have things been between you and that girl surnamed Fang?" Tang Jing stared blankly and said, "Pretty good." "What's the matter?" Feng Xinyang pointed at Yi Dingdang who was standing not too far away and said, "Don't you think that our family's Dingdang is very ladylike right now?" Tang Jing stared blankly for a moment. He had already guessed the other's thoughts. She was going to play matchmaker again. As expected, Feng Xinyang said, "Little handsome brother, I think very highly of you. You have to chase after our family's ding-dang. Our family's ding-dang is good at martial arts. In the future, she will definitely be a good wife." Yi Tianlei's brain did not work as fast as his wife. He helplessly looked at Feng Xinyang and shook his head without saying anything. Tang Zheng was really flattered by her enthusiasm. He could not resist and hurriedly said, "I have to go to class. Uncle Yi, Auntie Feng, goodbye." Then he ran away. Feng Xinyang did not forget to call out, "Don't forget my words. You really can consider it." Yi Dingdang saw Tang Jing run away in a sorry state. She curiously asked, "What did they say to you?" "They didn't even let me hear it." Tang Jing shrugged and said, "You can ask them. If I ask them, they won't tell me." "What did they secretly say to you?" "It's like I'm not their daughter and you're their son." Tang Zheng embarrassedly smiled. "Hang, if you don't want to say it then don't say it. Let me tell you, this week I will definitely break through to the 6th grade refining body. Just wait for the announcement to be made to the whole world." Yi Dingdang said in high spirits. Tang Zheng was in disbelief, so fast. Could it be that the Jade Women's Heart Sutra is really that good? Yi Dingdang rolled her eyes at this ignorant fellow and said, "Of course, the Jade Women's Heart Sutra is too compatible with me. My body's qi has become much stronger." Tang Zheng stared at her without blinking. Of course he could not see enough, but he could feel that her inner strength was vigorous. What made him feel even more surprised was that her purine qi seemed to have become even denser. What's going on? Tian Chanzi, quickly come out. The Jade Women's Heart Sutra you gave her wouldn't be the same as the one you gave Huang Xiang and turn her into a puppet, right? Tian Chanzi's methods left a deep impression on Tang Jing. "Brat, don't bite Lu Dongbin like a dog. You don't know how to appreciate good intentions. The Jade Woman Heart Sutra that I gave to this girl is a very high-level martial art. How could it be such a mess?" Tang Zheng let out a sigh of relief, but why did the purine qi in her body increase? Hey, this is the beauty of the Jade Women's Heart Sutra. Because this martial art is specially designed for women, it can naturally accumulate a woman's purine qi. Isn't this just to benefit you, little brat? In the future when you are together with her, you will be able to obtain even more purine qi. I really put a lot of thought into this. Tian Chanzi boasted. Tang Zheng was stunned for a moment. Tian Chanzi, can you not randomly matchmake me? I already have Feng Shishir. You still blame me. I won't lower myself to your level. You will know in the future. Tian Chanzi simply shut up, leaving Tang Zheng helpless. Seeing Tang Zheng staring at her as if he was in a daze, Yi Dingdang couldn't help but shout, "Tang Zheng, what are you looking at?" Nothing. Tang Zheng returned to his senses. "You are clearly looking at me and you still say nothing. What do you mean by that?" Yi Dingdang was like an angry little lion as she asked righteously. Tang Zheng bitterly smiled. Seeing Feng Shishir come, he quickly ran over. Yi Dingdang was so angry that she fiercely stomped her feet. "What are you guys talking about? Why is Yi Dingdang so angry?" Feng Shishir curiously asked. If it was said that she was a bit worried about Yi Dingdang before, but in this period of time, Tang Zheng and her were stuck together like glue. Yi Dingdang had nothing to do with her, so she was very relieved. "Nothing much. Last time you said that after using the spirit pill, my cultivation would increase faster. Why don't you come to my house tonight? I want to quickly increase my cultivation." Feng Shishir impatiently said. "Okay, no problem." Tang Zheng had taken care of Huang Xi and his mood was much more relaxed. As for Daoist Tianji, he bowed and knew where he was, so he didn't need to worry too much. "Then come to my house tonight. Your parents won't have any objections, right? Fong Shishir couldn't help but think of the embarrassing scene from last time. She fiercely pinched him and said, I asked you to guide me in my cultivation, not to do that. In bed, martial arts is also martial arts. Io, don't pinch me. My flesh is about to fall off. Tang Jing shouted. Hang, liar. This little bit of pain is nothing to you. Fong Shishir glared at him but still let go. Tonight, you can secretly come to my house. Just don't let my parents see you. A few days ago they were watching us very closely. Sometimes my mom would even eavesdrop at the door. But these 2 days she hasn't eavesdropped. So you just have to secretly come here tonight and leave before the sun rises. Tang Jing gave a naughty laugh. After cultivating, can't I do something else to relax? Ah, why is your brain filled with these things? Fong Shishir fiercely poked Tang Zhang's forehead and pouted. Tang Zhang gave a silly laugh. These days were truly blessed. Chapter 161. The night was like water. A figure jumped into the courtyard of a villa and quickly jumped in through a half-open window. The guy who climbed in through the window in the middle of the night was obviously Tang Jing. With such nimble skills, he was suitable to be a flower thief. Why did you come so late? Fong Shishir asked in a low voice. She had been lying on the bed, quietly waiting for her lover. I'm just worried that your parents aren't asleep yet. Tang Jing explained. Fong Shishir playfully smiled. You really have the potential to be a thief. Hee, I don't steal things, I specialize in stealing people. I'll steal a beauty like you. Tang Zhang said with a mischievous smile. Fong Shishir raised her fist and punched him. Tang Zhang hugged her and the two's lips kissed. The light of the table lamp was not very bright, but it added a hint of ambiguity to the atmosphere. Don't be naughty, I still have to practice. Fong Shishir said as she escaped from Tang Zhang's evil clutches. Tang Jing shrugged, took out a small porcelain bottle, and gently poured a spirit pill into her palm. She opened her eyes wide and praised, Wow, it's really beautiful. In a while, directly swallow it, then use your martial arts to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and convert it into your own jinqi. Tang Jing said. So simple. Of course, this is similar to practicing martial arts, but you can gather more spiritual energy of heaven and earth for your use. Fong Shishir nodded, indicating that she understood. She then sat down cross-legged, took the spirit pill, closed her eyes, and began to practice martial arts. Tang Zhang stood guard at the side. It was obvious that the spiritual energy of heaven and earth was gathering in this room, but it was not as terrifying as Tang Zhang's last time. Since I have nothing to do, why don't I take the spirit pill too? Tang Jing pondered, as the spirit gathering pill could only be taken once every 10 days. The last time he took a spirit gathering pill, he had been so busy that his feet didn't touch the ground, so he didn't have time to take it. He also sat down cross-legged and swallowed a spirit-gathering pill. The spirit chi of heaven and earth immediately poured into the villa from all directions. Last time, he had absorbed the heaven and earth spirit chi within a radius of 1 kilometer. This time, when the two of them worked together, the heaven and earth spirit chi within a radius of 2 kilometers rapidly converged towards the villa and madly rushed into their bodies. The budding flowers in the courtyard absorbed the spiritual energy and immediately bloomed, emitting a delicate fragrance. The trees grew new buds, and the grass that was about to wither actually regained its vitality and became emerald green. Fong Chonghua and Shi Mengqin slept especially well tonight, as if they were babies. They did not even dream as their body's metabolism intensified, rapidly expelling the toxins. Several patrolling security guards passed by the villa, looked around suspiciously, and whispered, "Do you guys feel refreshed?" "Yeah, I was dozing off just now, but now I'm especially energetic," another person said. They looked at each other, not knowing what had happened. Normal people would not be able to sense the changes in the heaven and earth spirit chi, but their bodies would instinctively react. However, some people were able to sense it. Daoist Tianji had been frantically searching for Tang Zheng during this period of time. However, in this large city, he did not have any resources and could only rely on his own 2 legs to run around. However, in these past few days, he did not have any results, causing him to be extremely frustrated. He bitterly looked at the sky and angrily roared, "Little brat, I will definitely find you." Suddenly, his gaze trembled. What's going on? Why is the heaven and earth spirit chi changing so strangely? It seems to be converging towards a certain place. There must be a problem. His eyes lit up as he immediately chased in the direction where the heaven and earth spirit chi was converging. A moment later, he arrived at the villa district. Why are we here again? He had been waiting here for a few days but was unable to find any trace of Tang Zheng. In the end, he had no choice but to give up. However, coming to this place again, he immediately frowned. Could it be that the little brat is still living here? Could it be that such a large movement was also caused by him? But how could there be such a large movement? He looked from afar and discovered that the heaven and earth spirit chi had finally converged into a villa. His heart moved as he excitedly muttered to himself, "Could it be? This is the legendary spirit gathering pill. I heard that the spirit gathering pill is able to gather the heaven and earth spirit chi for one's own use and then produce such an effect." Daoist Tianji was truly excited. He had cultivated for dozens of years but had never been able to refine pills. This was because firstly, he did not have a pill furnace and secondly, he did not have a pill recipe. Only someone like Tang Zheng, who had an old man from 1,000 years ago living in his head, would have such a miraculous pill recipe. That was why refining pills was so simple. For Daoist Tianji, even though he knew that refining pills could help him cultivate, he had no other choice. His breathing became hurried as he stared unblinkingly at the villa. He swallowed his saliva. It must be the spirit gathering pill. Whether it is that little brat or not, I must snatch the spirit gathering pill. As long as I have the spirit gathering pill, my cultivation will definitely increase by leaps and bounds. Thinking of this, he could no longer hold back his excitement and rushed towards the villa. "Who is it? Stop!" Suddenly, the security guards discovered his tracks and quickly chased after him. Last time, after Daoist Tianji's ruckus, the villa district had already strengthened its security. Daoist Tianji did not expect that his tracks would be discovered, but he did not care. No one could stop his determination to obtain the spirit gathering pill. Thus, he immediately pulled out his sword. Shwa shwa shwa, the security guards in front of him did not even have the time to scream before they were beheaded. Seeing this, the security guards behind him angrily shouted, "The criminal has a weapon. It's that beggar from last time. Quickly call the police." Someone recognized Daoist Tianji. Daoist Tianji completely ignored the people behind him and directly rushed into the villa's courtyard. Following the gathering point of the world's spiritual energy, he quickly arrived outside of Fang Shishir's room. Through the window, he could clearly see Tang Zheng and Fang Shishir sitting cross-legged. Daoist Tianji's eyes lit up. "Little brat, it really is you. There is also a little girl who is also a cultivator. Spirit gathering pill, they really are using the spirit gathering pill to cultivate. No wonder they have such a cultivation at such a young age. Hey, little brat, I have finally found you. This time you won't be able to escape, so I will dig out all of your secrets." Daoist Tianji's eyes flashed with an ominous light as he leapt into the air, wanting to jump in through the window. Just at this time, Tang Zheng suddenly opened his eyes. With a wave of his hand, the world's spiritual energy formed a powerful gale that slammed into the window. Pang! Daoist Tianji raised his sword to block, flipped through the air and landed in the courtyard. Little brat, I have finally found you. You have nowhere to run, so obediently hand over the spirit-gathering pill to me and I will let you die a quick death. Daoist Tianji proudly said. Tang Zheng's face was gloomy to the extreme. Just now he was at the crucial moment of breaking through to the 7th grade refining qi but was interrupted. Now his qi had stopped at 6 inches and 9 fun. This damned Daoist Tianji, why is he still haunting me like a ghost? He glanced at Fang Shishir, who was still cultivating. Her cultivation was still lacking and could not be like him. If she was interrupted, her body would be damaged and he would not allow this to happen. Tang Jing also pulled out his battle spirit and jumped out of the window, glaring at Daoist Tianji. Hey, little brat, there is no use looking at me like that. Looks cannot kill me. Daoist Tianji proudly said, hurry up and give me the spirit-gathering pill and then kill yourself. Otherwise, not only will I kill you, I will also torture you to death. Daoist Tianji, last time when you were like a stray dog being chased by the police, how did it feel? Tang Jing jokingly asked. Daoist Tianji's old face turned red. This was his humiliation. Immediately, he flew into a rage. Since you are so stubborn, then I will do it myself. Just as his voice fell, Daoist Tianji used spatial contraction, and instantly appeared in front of Tang Jing, his sword thrusting out. Dang! The two swords collided and Tang Jing could not help but retreat a few steps. Daoist Tianji proudly sneered, little brat, you are not my opponent. Just give up. With a loud roar, he once again rushed forward. Shwa! A sword light flashed by. Tang Jing hurriedly dodged, but the steps behind him suffered a calamity. The marble steps shattered and shot towards the villa like a rain of bullets. Pang pang pang. The villa became riddled with holes. Tang Jing could no longer care about this huge commotion as he quickly rushed out of the courtyard. Coincidentally, he met the security guards who were surrounding him. He loudly roared, quickly hide. Before the security guards could react, Daoist Tianji's sword had already arrived. The security guards were all stabbed in the chest and fell to the ground. Tang Zheng was enraged, but he had no other choice. He must quickly bring Daoist Tianji away from this place. This way, Fang Shishir and her family would be the safest. Moreover, if he did not leave, it would be easy for his identity to be exposed. Daoist Tianji, could it be that you do not have a bit of compassion? You actually willfully killed the innocent. Tang Jing ran forward as he questioned. Daoist Tianji laughed loudly behind him. Who knows how many innocent people have died under my sword, but what does that have to do with me? Those who dare block my path only have death waiting for them. The huge commotion had already attracted the attention of many people. The surrounding villas all lit up their lights and many people walked out. When they saw the security guards lying on the ground with blood flowing out, they all began to scream. At this time, the silence of this high-class villa district was completely broken. In the distance, the sound of sirens also rang out, getting closer and closer. Tang Zheng and Daoist Tianji had already rushed out of the villa district and quickly followed the streets. However, Daoist Tianji's shrinking speed was simply too fast. Not long after, Tang Zheng was caught up. This was a commercial street with various shops on both sides. Tang Zheng was in front while Daoist Tianji was behind. A sword slashed out and Tang Zheng barely dodged. This sword directly cut down a street lamp on the side of the road. With a loud bang, the street lamp fell to the side of the shop, directly smashing the glass display window into pieces. Tomorrow, when the boss sees this unexpected disaster, he will definitely want to cry, but no tears will come out. But this was only the beginning. Tang Jing counterattacked. Battle's soul brought out a resounding sword cry, and this time, the sword directly ignited with true fire. Since true fire had a restraining effect on Daoist Tianji, then it was naturally Tang Zhang's first choice. He only saw a ray of fire leave the sword and shoot towards Daoist Tianji from several meters away. Pang! Daoist Tianji held his sword horizontally in front of his chest to block the true fire. However, the true fire exploded and shot out in all directions. Quite a few of it actually touched his body and quickly burned. Specks of fire also shot into the shops on the side of the street. Chapter 162. Daoist Tianji hurriedly circulated his qi to extinguish the true fire. Last time he suffered a great loss, so this time he did not dare to let it continue to burn. With his experience from last time, he quickly extinguished the fire. Seeing this, Tang Jing did not immediately attack but instead ran in the opposite direction. "Little brat, you won't be able to escape." Daoist Tianji madly chased, leaving behind a chaotic commercial street and a series of alarms. The two of them chased and ran as fast as lightning, stopping from time to time to have a small battle. This caused quite a large commotion, causing many other places to be caught in the crossfire. This commotion was too big, causing almost half of the ordinary Balan city to be alarmed as all sorts of alarms rang out incessantly. Tang Zheng helplessly shook his head as he ran. This time the commotion was too big, so he was afraid that it would attract the attention of others. Since Daoist Tianji said that he had only seen 2 cultivators in so many years, Tang Zheng felt a special sense of vigilance. In this world, there were so few cultivators that they would be seen as abnormal. In the long river of human history, abnormal people would always be pushed aside and in the end, they would not have a good ending. Tang Zheng did not want to end up like that, so he had to be careful. It could be said that his identity as a cultivator brought him both benefits and dangers. Therefore, he subconsciously disguised himself as a martial artist, but Daoist Tianji was clearly crazy. For the sake of the spirit pill, he did not hesitate to make such a big commotion, not hesitating to expose their identities. Of course, Tang Zheng was not running aimlessly. He was rapidly moving towards a destination, and in the distance, he could already see this destination. This was an abandoned warehouse, and there were very few people around. This warehouse hid a person who could help Tang Zheng. "Who is it?" There were 2 people guarding the warehouse and they loudly shouted. "It's me, quickly run." One of the 2 people was Dao Zai, and he brought a little brother to guard this warehouse. Dao Zai clearly saw Tang Zheng and was shocked. "Young Master Tang, what happened?" "Quickly go, don't ask, don't worry." Tang Zheng could already see Daoist Tianji not far away. Time was of the essence and he did not want these 2 people to end up like those security guards. Dao Zai wanted to ask again, but Tang Zheng's face had already darkened as he roared, "Are you not going to listen to me anymore?" Dao Zai jumped in fright and hurriedly said, "I don't dare." He called his younger brother and quickly fled. Creak! Tang Zheng pulled open the door to the warehouse and rushed in. Daoist Tianji also rushed in at the same time, not caring if there was any danger inside. In his eyes, Tang Zheng could not threaten him at all. Whoosh! But just as he rushed in, a gust of wind blew towards him. Daoist Tianji did not even think before slashing out with his sword. Bang! A surge of power surged from the sword. He was shocked. The power of this attack was too great. It did not seem like Tang Zheng's attack. "Who is it?" Daoist Tianji took half a step back and glared at the warehouse like a tiger watching its prey. There was a small lamp in the warehouse, and although the light was dim, it was still able to clearly see the surroundings. He saw that there was another person beside Tang Zheng. It was a young man who stared expressionlessly at Daoist Tianji. Daoist Tianji's eyes narrowed as he stared at this person. "And who are you?" Tang Zheng's lips curled into a smile. The reason he had rushed here was to find Huang Xiang. Huang Xiang's cultivation was at the first grade of the prenatal stage, similar to Daoist Tianji's first grade of foundation establishment. However, because Daoist Tianji was a cultivator, his true strength was above Huang Xiang's. However, with Tang Jing in the mix, Daoist Tianji would not have an advantage. Tang Jing jokingly asked, Daoist Tianji, what, are you afraid? Daoist Tianji's expression changed rapidly as he disdainfully said, you think I'm afraid of you? Just a martial artist, what is there to be afraid of? Is that so? If I told you that he was at the first grade of the prenatal stage, would you still be afraid? I know that you are at the first grade of foundation establishment, so don't pretend to be so profound. In reality, if Tang Jing were to call Yi Tianlei over as a helper, Daoist Tianji would definitely not be a match for him. However, this would expose Tang Zhang's identity, so he could only rely on Huang Xiang as a puppet. Only he would not reveal any secrets. Daoist Tianji heard Tang Zhang's words reveal his cultivation, and his expression slightly changed as he sternly said, Little brat, you are the strangest of the two cultivators I have met. I do not know how you started cultivating, but I know that you must have had a great opportunity. Today, I will definitely take this opportunity away from you. Since you think so highly of me, then can you tell me about the other cultivator you met? You said that you had already killed him. What information did you obtain from him? Tang Jing purposely asked, as this was what he was most concerned about. He had a magical treasure, but he hid it too well, so I was unable to find it. He really deserved to die, but I believe that even if he died he would not be able to rest in peace because I made a move against his family. Ah. Daoist Tianji proudly said. What magical treasure? This I do not know, but I heard that it was very powerful. His cultivation was too low and was far from being as powerful as you, so he was killed by my sword. Truly satisfying. Daoist Tianji said with a fiendish smile. Then it seems that in the end you worked for nothing and did not even obtain the magical treasure. However, in the end you still made a move against his family. Isn't that too despicable? Despicable? The fact that I did not directly kill him is already benevolent. I only told my disciple to place a curse on his wife. Curse? Tang Zhang's heart moved. The curse on Nana's body was because of this. Tang Zhang was shocked. Last time he used the soul-searching technique to find out from Daoist Tianji's disciple that it was Daoist Tianji who ordered him to do the curse, but he did not know the reason. Now Tang Zhang could faintly guess the reason. Daoist Tianji's eyebrows twisted as he asked, Who is Nana? You don't even know her name, yet you made her suffer so much since birth. She is still a child, so how can you bear to do this? Tang Zhang gnashed his teeth as Nana's cute appearance uncontrollably appeared in his mind. Daoist Tianji suddenly realized, so Nana is the descendant of that cultivator. Hey, I never thought that she would be related to you. It seems that in the unseen world, the heavens guided me to find you. This is the will of the heavens want me to become a true expert, the most powerful cultivator. Tang Zhang did not pay attention to his arrogance as he was shocked by another piece of news. Nana's father, Mu Hongyan's late husband, was actually also a cultivator and even had a very powerful magical treasure. Daoist Tianji, you have misunderstood the will of the heavens. The heavens allowed us to meet not to make you stronger but to end your life, to let you die by my hands. Tang Zhang said resolutely as he seethed with killing intent. Daoist Tianji disdainfully gave a cold laugh, shameless boasting. Then let us see if the will of the heavens is for you to die or for me to live. Shwa! The long sword trembled as it pierced towards Tang Zhang. Huang Xiang took the initiative to attack as he completely disregarded the power of the sword. Pooh! A bloody wound appeared on Huang Xiang's shoulder, but his eyebrows did not even twitch. He reached out with one hand and directly grabbed onto Daoist Tianji's chest. Daoist Tianji was shocked as this person did not seem to be afraid of death. Seeing that his chest was grabbed, he quickly retreated as he slashed his sword across his chest, knocking away Huang Xiang's hand. Are you not afraid of death? Daoist Tianji roared. Huang Xiang did not reply as he tapped the ground with his feet and quickly attacked again. An unending stream of palm energy surged out, forcing Daoist Tianji's clothes to flutter. Daoist Tianji finally discovered something strange as he angrily roared, "What the hell is he?" Tang Jing coldly smiled, "Something to kill you." "You want to kill me?" "No way. I don't believe that you are not afraid of death." Daoist Tianji held his sword with both hands and used all his strength to slash out. Shwa! The sword light tore open a large wound on Huang Xiang's chest, causing blood to flow out, but Huang Xiang did not retreat in the slightest. His palm had already landed on Daoist Tianji's chest. Pang! Daoist Tianji flew out and staggered as he fell to the ground. He then stared dumbstruck at Huang Xiang. Blood was still flowing and the flesh that had been cut open was clearly visible, but he acted as if nothing had happened and did not even look at it. He is not human. Daoist Tianji pointed at Huang Xiang as he angrily roared. Tang Jing declined to comment as Huang Xiang really could not be considered a human. He was a living puppet and a living weapon. Daoist Tianji had never heard of the puppet technique before, but he could somewhat guess as he excitedly said, "You have more secrets than I imagined. I must obtain your secrets." Kill! Daoist Tianji flew forward and this time his sword actually left his hand and pierced towards Huang Xiang. Huang Xiang's palm struck out and just as it was about to hit the sword suddenly changed directions and flew past Huang Xiang's side and pierced towards his back. This scene was completely unexpected and Tang Jing turned pale with fright. What is going on? How can his sword change directions? Daoist Tianji's face revealed a pleased expression as his fingers moved as if he was guiding the sword from afar. Pooh! Huang Xiang dodged to the side but was unable to do so. His shoulder was pierced by the sword and blood gushed out. Imperial Sword Technique. He actually knows the Imperial Sword Technique. Tian Chanzi loudly cried out. What is the Imperial Sword Technique? Tang Jing anxiously asked. The Imperial Sword Technique is to use sword techniques to control a weapon's attack from a distance. I should have thought of this. He is only a first-grade foundation building cultivator and has the ability to use the Imperial Sword Technique. However, he hit it too deeply. The last few times he did not use the Imperial Sword Technique, so I thought that he had not cultivated it yet. What a mistake, what a mistake. Tian Chanzi regretted. If the Imperial Sword Technique is so powerful, then is there nothing I can do? Tang Jing unwillingly asked. Little brat, quickly run for your life. The Imperial Sword Technique is very powerful. Just think about it, the opponent does not even need to touch your body and the sword will fly over. Do you think you can dodge this kind of attack? Tang Jing was stunned as he could not help but think of the sniper rifle. Wasn't this the same principle? Using a long-distance attack to ensure that one was in an invincible position. Little brat, have a taste of my Imperial Sword Technique. Prepare to die. Daoist Tianji madly laughed as his hands formed a sword technique and the sword flew towards Tang Jing with a biting cold killing intent. Chapter 163. The Imperial Sword Technique was clearly able to increase the power of the sword. Tang Jing had already used the Imperial Sword Technique. In that instant, the first 20 moves of the Outer Heaven Flying Immortal Technique exploded out, forming a thick wall of sword light in front of him. Pang! The sword fiercely chopped down on the wall, causing it to collapse. Tang Jing, who was hiding behind the wall, fiercely thrust his sword forward. Dang! The sword was sent flying. Daoist Tianji coldly laughed. You want to turn defeat into victory with just this little bit of counterattack? Stop daydreaming and overestimate yourself. Attack! The sword in his hand changed and the sword once again flew over. This time, it was from a high vantage point, diving down from the sky with an even more biting cold aura. Little brat, hurry up and run. I already told you that you are not a match for the Imperial Sword technique. Tian Chanzi anxiously urged. Don't say any more, I will not run. If I run, then Huang Xiang will definitely be killed by him. Then I will have no one to help me in the future, so I must take advantage of this opportunity to work together with him to kill Daoist Jinji. Tang Zheng had already made up his mind and could not be changed. Foolish, you really are foolish. Tian Chanzi really wanted to curse out loud, but there was nothing he could do. Seeing the long sword descend from the sky, Tang Zheng used his sword to block. The battle soul sword let out a long cry, and a black light burst forth to meet the attack. With a loud, danged sound, Tang Zheng's arm went numb, and the battle soul sword almost slipped out of his hand. The sword was about to launch another series of attacks when Huang Xiang finally moved. Even though his shoulder was pierced by the sword, his life was not in danger, so he charged at Daoist Jinji without any regard for his own safety. In terms of physical strength, Daoist Jinji was clearly inferior to Huang Xiang, who had turned into a puppet and was not afraid of death. Thus, when he saw Huang Xiang charging at him, Daoist Jinji was startled. He bent his finger and the sword flew back, stabbing towards Huang Xiang's back. This sword was aimed at the heart. If it pierced through, then Huang Xiang would definitely die. Careful! Tang Zheng roared and fiercely pounced forward. The war soul sword flew into the air and flew out of his hand, slashing at the long sword that was flying back. Clang! The long sword tilted and fell to the ground. Daoist Jinji's face clearly flashed with an abnormal red. At the same time, he dodged to the side, avoiding Huang Xiang's attack. Brat, there's a chance. I finally know why he didn't use the Imperial Sword technique before. The Imperial Sword technique consumes a lot of innate qi, and his innate qi is obviously not enough, so as long as you continue to exhaust his innate qi, his Imperial Sword technique will fail. Tian Chanzi shouted in surprise. Tang Zheng's eyes lit up. Why didn't you say so earlier? That way, we wouldn't have to attack with all our might. We'll just fight with him to the end and exhaust him to death. Tian Chanzi said embarrassedly, didn't I just see it? No wonder he's only a first-grade foundation establishment cultivator at such an old age. It's obvious that he doesn't practice any powerful cultivation technique. Naturally, his true qi won't be too much, so this is your chance. Tang Zheng let out a sigh of relief. He picked up Battle's soul and shouted, Huang Xiang, return to defense. Huang Xiang quickly retreated and stood beside him. His blood had already stopped flowing, and it was obvious that he had used his own inner qi to seal his meridians. However, looking at the blood that had formed a blood scab was still very frightening. Daoist Jinji saw that Tang Zheng had turned to defense and his eyebrows immediately wrinkled. Tian Chanzi's fiery eyes were not wrong. Although the Imperial Sword technique was powerful, Daoist Jinji did not have enough innate qi to control the longsword, so he had to end the battle quickly. Tang Zheng turning to defense was something that he did not want to see the most. Brat, why are you scared? Didn't you shamelessly boast that you wanted to kill me? Come on. Daoist Jinji's thoughts turned as he immediately provoked. Tang Zheng chuckled. I'm tired from fighting. Can't I rest for a while? Rest? How can you rest in battle? That's for others. In any case, I want to rest for a while. Tang Zheng saw that the longsword was floating in the air and that Daoist Jinji's innate qi was being consumed. This was enough. Brat, don't even think about resting. Prepare to die. Daoist Jinji pointed his finger and the longsword attacked Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng and Huang Xiang were like two rabbits running around the large warehouse. Fortunately, the warehouse was large enough to give the two enough space to escape the pursuit of the longsword. After running a few laps, the two of them were not even panting for breath. However, Daoist Tianji's face was clearly becoming more and more ugly. Tang Zheng was secretly delighted. This father wants to exhaust you to death. When the time comes, it will be 2 against 1 and you will not be able to hold on. Daoist Tianji's heart was a little flustered. These two people are monkeys. If I don't face them head on, it will be difficult to kill them. No, I have to think of a way. My innate qi is being consumed too quickly. Brat, you are a coward. Daoist Tianji angrily cursed. Tang Zheng laughed out loud. Ha, how can you curse me? I didn't run far. If you are really strong, then catch up to me. Isn't your shrinking earth into inches very strong? Come and chase me. Tang Zheng was like a big swindler trying to trick a little girl, tricking Daoist Tianji into chasing after him. As long as Daoist Tianji used the Imperial Sword technique and at the same time used spatial shrinking to chase after him, then his true qi would be consumed even faster. Daoist Tianji clearly understood that this was seeking death. He could not help but stare at Tang Zheng. From his eyes, he could see a trace of craftiness. His heart was in chaos. This brat has already seen through my weakness. He is only at the 6th grade of refining qi, so how could he see through my weakness? But with Tang Zheng's previous performance that exceeded common sense, it seemed that seeing through his weakness was not a big deal. Thus, he could not do as Tang Zheng wished. Brat, you want to run in circles with me? Stop dreaming. Daoist Tianji waved his hand and the long sword flew back into his hand. Tang Zheng was stunned for a moment before asking, why aren't you using the Imperial Sword technique? Continue. Daoist Tianji's face was ashen as he gnashed his teeth and said, don't think that I don't know what you're planning. You want to consume my innate qi, right? Dream on. Seeing that Daoist Tianji had seen through his intentions, Tang Zheng did not panic as he said, if you don't use the Imperial Sword technique, then are you a match for the both of us? Daoist Tianji's face froze. This was a dead end. If he used the Imperial Sword technique, then Tang Zheng would not be able to fight him head-on and would only consume his innate qi. If he did not use the Imperial Sword technique, then his power would be greatly reduced. With Tang Zheng and Huang Xiang working together, he would be in a passive position. In short, Daoist Tianji had fallen into this dead end. His eyes were bulging, but he was helpless as he could not find a way out of this dead end. This time it was Tang Zheng's turn to take the initiative as he looked at Daoist Tianji with ridicule. Daoist Tianji, why don't you obediently surrender and then we won't have to fight? Tang Zheng provoked. Wishful thinking. Kill. Daoist Tianji did not want to waste any more time as he held his sword in one hand and charged forward. This time Tang Zheng did not retreat but instead attacked together with Huang Xiang. The two of them had experienced the battle with Huang Xi, so their coordination was quite good. Huang Xiang was at the front like a human shield, protecting Tang Zheng behind him, while Tang Zheng was constantly looking for an opportunity to deal a painful blow to Daoist Tianji. Palm shadows flew out as they tangled with Daoist Tianji's sword. Back and forth, it was incomparably intense. Huang Xiang took a few more blows, but it was as if nothing had happened. Instead, the more he fought, the braver he became. Daoist Tianji, on the other hand, was not so relaxed as Huang Xiang's palm techniques were fierce and swift. As long as he was hit, he would suffer greatly. However, Huang Xiang's defense was very tight and it was very difficult to deal a fatal blow to him. Daoist Tianji's face was bitter as he also had to be wary of Tang Zheng, who was hiding behind Huang Xiang. His multitasking caused his attacks to become more and more chaotic. Hi hey, Tian Chanzi, luckily I didn't listen to your advice and run, otherwise it would have been too difficult to wait for such an opportunity. Tang Zheng said proudly. Do you think I wanted you to run? Isn't that something that can't be helped? Moreover, I can't bear to throw away such a good puppet. I must properly raise it, and in the future its cultivation will definitely surpass your imagination. Tian Chanzi said longingly. Tang Zheng's heart skipped a beat as he looked at Huang Xiang's back and said, can he really cultivate to a very powerful level? Of course. Puppets have one advantage, and that is that they do not have any distracting thoughts. They can focus on cultivation, so their cultivation speed is much faster than normal people. Tang Zheng suddenly realized, but he had to admit that Tian Chanzi's move was very useful. If he did not have Huang Xiang as a puppet, not to mention dealing with Huang Xi, he would only be able to run away from this Daoist Tianji. Daoist Tianji's qi was quickly being consumed, but Huang Xiang seemed to not know what fatigue was, causing him to be overwhelmed. Suddenly, Daoist Tianji roared as his sword pierced through Huang Xiang's ribs and left his hand. He had once again used the imperial sword technique, but this time his speed was clearly not as fast as before. He had actually sneak attacked Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng's reaction was very fast as he leapt onto Huang Xiang's shoulder and threw himself at Daoist Tianji. Battle Spirit's sword hummed incessantly as if it could smell the scent of fresh blood. Daoist Tianji was unarmed as he hurriedly retreated and summoned his sword to defend himself. Just as the sword flew past Huang Xiang suddenly stretched out his two palms and clasped them together. Pang! A muffled sound rang out as his two palms caught the sword. The sword trembled incessantly as if it was responding to its master's summons. However, Huang Xiang's expression did not change and his hands did not relax in the slightest. Fresh blood dripped from his palms onto the ground, but he was completely unaware of it. Tang Zheng glanced at this scene from the corner of his eyes and was deeply shocked. The puppet's attack power was too strong and it did not fear death. Daoist Tianji clearly did not expect this move as his sword was controlled. He was unarmed and had no strength to resist Tang Zheng. He retreated again and again until he reached the wall. Tang Zheng was like a shadow as Battle Spirit appeared in front of his chest. Daoist Tianji was forced to helplessly extend his palms. Pang! He caught Battle Spirit. He seemed to want to learn from Huang Xiang, but he forgot that he was not a puppet. Tang Zheng's lips curled into a cold smile. When Daoist Tianji saw this smile, his mind was shaken as he thought that things were not good. As expected, a light purple true fire shot out from the War Soul sword and quickly spread to Daoist Tianji's arms, directly drilling into his skin. Daoist Tianji was horrified and subconsciously loosened his grip, allowing the Battle Soul sword to pierce straight into his chest. Chapter 164. Daoist Tianji lowered his head, looking at his own chest in disbelief. That battle soul that flickered with a black light was so real. Fresh blood dripped down from the blade and dripped onto the ground, while a piercing pain filled his entire mind. Free novel portal, his face turned pale, and his lips began to tremble involuntarily. He subconsciously cried out in pain and wanted to raise his hands to counterattack, but found that his hands were powerless and he could no longer raise them. How is this possible? I am a first-grade foundation establishment, how can you kill me? Daoist Tianji was dumbstruck and in disbelief, hoping that this was all an illusion. Tang Zheng coldly snorted and did not waste words with him. He quickly grabbed his head and used the soul-searching technique. Daoist Tianji's heart had already been pierced and he would immediately die. Tang Zheng had to grab this last chance to search his brain for information. Soul-searching technique. Daoist Tianji was shocked, his eyes almost popping out, but he had no way to resist. He screamed out, "No!" The screams came to an abrupt end as the soul-searching technique had already taken effect. Daoist Tianji's eyes immediately became sluggish and his life was quickly draining away. After a moment, Tang Zheng released his hand and his expression became serious. His guess seemed to be correct. Because there were too few cultivators in this world and martial artists were growing stronger day by day, there were many martial artist experts and there seemed to be a mysterious organization that was hostile to cultivators. Daoist Tianji had once encountered people from this organization, but they were all killed by Daoist Tianji. However, Daoist Tianji understood that behind these people, there was definitely an expert that he could not provoke. Therefore, these past few years, the master and disciple did not dare to act with great fanfare and only carefully searched for other cultivators. Luckily I did not expose myself, otherwise this mysterious organization would definitely come looking for me. Even Daoist Tianji is afraid of them, so I am definitely not their opponent. Tang Zheng said with a lingering fear in his heart. This world was far more dangerous than he had imagined. Tian Chanzi's mood was clearly more complicated than Tang Zheng's. He muttered to himself in disbelief, how is this possible? Back then, cultivators and martial artists coexisted, but the strength of cultivators definitely surpassed that of martial artists. Why was it that after 1,000 years, martial artists prospered, while cultivators were few and far between? Even being chased by martial artists, this, Xiuzha are too cowardly. As a powerful cultivator from 1,000 years ago, Tian Chanzi was undoubtedly very proud, but now he found that this pride had actually faded with the development of time. No, brat, you must revive the glory of the cultivators. Cultivators cannot decline. Tian Chanzi suddenly roared at the top of his lungs. Moreover, I believe that there are definitely cultivators in this world, although I don't know why they are hiding, and what happened in the past 1,000 years. Tang Zheng was stunned. He had never seen such an abnormal emotion from him. He hurriedly advised, Tian Chanzi, the times are changing. There's nothing to be surprised about. Look at how many dynasties have risen and fallen. This is the law of nature. Nonsense. Dynasties can disappear, but cultivators will never disappear. The dignity of cultivators cannot be trampled on. Tian Chanzi was so agitated that he could not control himself. Tang Zheng did not know whether to laugh or cry as he asked, Tian Chanzi, when did you have such a sense of honor? This is not a sense of honor, but a sense of self-respect. Look at the information in Daoist Tianji's mind. There are actually martial artists that are hunting down cultivators. This is the biggest joke in the world. What are martial artists? They actually dare to contend with cultivators. Tian Chanzi said disdainfully. Tang Zheng was speechless. He could only say, wait until you are reborn. Won't you be able to work hard towards your goal? Why would you need me? Moreover, my cultivation is still too low. What do you know? Although my cultivation is higher than yours, I can foresee that your future achievements will definitely be higher than mine. Moreover, you have the 9 Yang Saint body. You also have the ancient clear heaven scroll. It seems that this is the will of the heavens for you to bring cultivators back to glory. Tang Zheng did not know whether to laugh or cry. With just a few words, Tian Chanzi had placed such a heavy burden on his shoulders. This caused his little heart to be unable to bear it. He also felt that it was very unreal. Tian Chanzi, didn't you say that I am not human? Don't let others discover my secret. Now that you have me carry such a heavy burden, aren't you just putting me in front of everyone? Even if the martial artists do not kill me, in the future other cultivators will know that my true fire is in my sea of consciousness. Then wouldn't I only have one path, death? This. Tian Chanzi was stumped. So, let's not talk about such a high and mighty problem. I should focus on increasing my cultivation first. Tang Zheng said. Tian Chanzi helplessly let out a long sigh, then we can only do this. Let's see if Daoist Tianji has any treasures. Tang Zheng felt his heart heat up as he hurriedly searched. There was nothing. That's right, just now I discovered that there was a memory in his mind. It seems that he has hidden his secret manuals and cultivation techniques in a certain place. Let's go look for it. Daoist Tianji snorted disdainfully, his cultivation technique is so weak. What is there to look for? Tang Jing did not agree. Daoist Tianji had cultivated for tens of years, so there was bound to be something worth learning from. There was no harm in taking a look. Moreover, if those cultivation techniques fell into the hands of others, it might not be a good thing, so it was best to look for them. However, the grade of his sword is clearly higher than your battle spirit. You can keep it. Tian Chanzi suggested. Tang Zhang's gaze fell on the long sword. This sword was a bit longer than Tang Zhang's sword and was much thinner. It shone with a cold light, like the flowing autumn water. It was not as dark as the War Soul sword, and its appearance was much better. This is a Huang grade magic weapon. It is much stronger than ordinary swords, so of course I have to collect it. Shishir doesn't have any magic weapons, right? This sword is perfect for her. Tang Jing happily said. In the past I had collected quite a few magic weapons, but they were all lost in the final battle. Otherwise I would not have let my disciple use a Huang grade magic weapon. Tian Chanzi said regretfully. It seemed that letting Fang Shishir use a Huang grade magic weapon was a loss of face for him. Tang Zheng laughed involuntarily and ridiculed, Tian Chanzi, anyone can talk big. The key is that you don't have a single magic weapon and you don't even have a greeting gift for your disciple. I want to see how you will have the face to see Shishir. Tian Chanzi awkwardly coughed and said, I don't have one. Could it be that I don't know how to find one? Moreover, didn't Daoist Tianji just say that Mu Hongyan's deceased husband had a magic weapon? Tang Zhang's heart moved. Just now he had used the soul-searching technique to find out that this magic weapon was actually a mysterious grade magic weapon. It was a grade higher than battle spirit. No wonder Daoist Tianji wanted to kill him and steal it. But that person is already dead. How am I supposed to find it? Tang Zhang said disappointedly. Little brat, I said you were an idiot but you didn't believe me. He is dead but Mu Hongyan is still alive. Mu Hongyan is not a simple woman, so you can ask her if she knows the details. Daoist Tianji did not obtain this magic weapon and you killed him. This can be considered as taking revenge for Mu Hongyan's deceased husband. Moreover, if this magic weapon does not appear in this world, wouldn't it be like a pearl covered in dust? So if you find this magic weapon, it can be considered a good thing. Tian Chanzi advised. Tang Zhang's heart moved. The temptation of a mysterious grade magic weapon could not be said to be small. Tang Zhang now understood more and more the importance of magic weapons. If he had this magic weapon, then when he faced other experts his battle prowess would definitely increase by a lot. Okay, after the college entrance exam, I will find time to go to Dianan. In any case, I have already promised Nana that I will go see her. I will take the opportunity to see if there is any trace of this magic weapon's whereabouts. Tang Zhang made up his mind. Tian Chanzi laughed and praised, that's right. You must take advantage of every opportunity to increase your strength. Tang Zhang looked at the messy warehouse and dialed Lin Hu's number. Huzi, come clean up the warehouse. There is a corpse. Young Master Tang, what happened? I heard from Dao Zai that you are in trouble. I was just thinking of going over to help. Is there someone who is blind enough to provoke you? Lin Hu's imposing manner was aggressive. Tang Zheng lightly said, the matter has already been resolved. You can just send someone to the warehouse. I will wait for you. Okay, I will be right there. Young Master Tang, tonight the ordinary balance's movements are too big. I don't know who is causing trouble. Our people are already investigating. We have just taken down the ordinary balance. We absolutely cannot be in chaos. Lin Hu indignantly said. Tang Zheng helplessly smiled bitterly and said, this movement was caused by me. You don't have to worry about it. Ah, so it was young Master Tang. No wonder there was such a big movement. I thought some powerful dragon came to ordinary balance. Lin Hu exclaimed and then hung up the phone. More than 10 minutes later, a car stopped in front of the warehouse. Young Master Tang. Lin Hu greeted from afar. Behind him were Dong Zai and Dao Zai, his two trusted aides, clearly for the sake of secrecy. Tonight the police have all been dispatched and our people have all been questioned. However, there are no major issues. Hey, who would have thought that it was young Master Tang's handiwork? However, the movement was truly too big. I heard that there were quite a few shops in the business district that were damaged. Moreover, the ground was also heavily damaged. It was as if it had been smashed by a 10,000 gene boulder. It was full of potholes, just like the surface of the moon. Lin Hu excitedly said. Tang Jing shook his head. This kind of large movement was not what he wanted. However, Daoist Tianji's unbridled attack was truly unable to quiet down the commotion. Don't just watch the show. Clean him up. Tang Jing pointed at Daoist Tianji on the ground and said. Lin Hu did not ask who this person was as this was his duty as a subordinate. He solemnly waved his hand and Dao Zai and Dong Zai moved the corpse into the trunk of the car. Clean it up. Tang Jing warned. Understood. Lin Hu nodded his head as his gaze involuntarily fell on Huang Xiang's body. The wounds and blood on his body were a ghastly sight, causing several people's hearts to jump. They could not help but look at Huang Xiang with a whole new level of respect and fear. Bring him back to treat his wounds. Tang Jing pointed at Huang Xiang and said. Yes. In addition, you are not allowed to mention this matter to anyone. Do you understand? Tang Zhang's gaze turned cold. Several people's hearts trembled as they hurriedly said, Young Master Tang, rest assured. Even if we die, we will take this matter to our stomachs. Tang Zhang's prestige grew day by day, causing several people to gradually feel the pressure. Tang Jing nodded his head in satisfaction as he walked out of the warehouse towards the place where Daoist Tianji had hidden his secret technique. Chapter 165. Looking at the empty cave, Tang Jing couldn't help but be dumbstruck. How did the secret book disappear? Shouldn't it be in this cave? Daoist Tianji had the habit of a crafty rabbit having 3 burrows. He would never carry his secret book on him because he was afraid of meeting a strong opponent and having it stolen. This secret book was not a martial art. As long as someone looked at it, they would be able to see through his identity as a cultivator. This was no different from asking for trouble. Thus, every time he went to a place, he would secretly hide the secret book. This time was no exception as he hid the secret book in this cave. The location of this cave was very remote and it was hard for a normal person to find it. However, the secret book flew away without wings. What happened? Tang Zhang's gaze became serious. There must be a demon behind this abnormality. Perhaps these secret manuals were not of much use to him, but since they had mysteriously disappeared, he had to get to the bottom of this. Otherwise, he would always feel uneasy in his heart. He wandered around the cave for a long time but was unable to find any clues. Just who was it that took the secret book? Tang Zhang was puzzled but had no other choice. He could only leave the cave and once again return to Fang Shishi's house. However, he found that there was already a police cordon and many police officers were still there, questioning the residents. Tang Jing also saw Fang Shishi in the crowd. She had already finished cultivating. Fang Chonghua and Shi Mengqin had bitter faces as they looked back at the dilapidated villa. They wanted to cry but had no tears. The two of them were sleeping soundly when they were awoken by the huge commotion outside. When they saw the scene in their house, they really wanted to curse out loud. Who did the Fang clan provoke? They attracted this unexpected calamity. If they were to know that this was all because of Tang Jing, they would probably take a stick and chase Tang Jing away. Fang Shishir flew towards Tang Jing with a puzzled expression. She was previously immersed in her cultivation and did not know the situation outside. Tang Jing held her hand and squeezed it, quietly saying, "The enemy has already been dealt with." Fang Shishir's eyes lit up. Tonight's matter was done by the heavenly secret Daoist, right? Her memory of the beggar-like heavenly secret Daoist was still fresh in her mind. Tang Jing nodded his head. "He will never come and bother us again." Fang Shishir covered her mouth in surprise as her eyes widened. "You killed him." Tang Jing did not deny it and said, "He is a huge threat. If I don't kill him, he will kill me. If I kill someone, are you afraid of me?" Tang Jing used to be a good student. At most, he had killed chickens. However, ever since he became a cultivator, under the imperceptible influence of Tian Chanzi, his tolerance for killing was much stronger than that of ordinary people. This was a society where the strong preyed on the weak. Tang Jing could no longer be considered a member of this society. Therefore, he had his own set of rules. He did not even mind breaking some of the social rules. This was the mentality of a strong cultivator. Fang Shishir fiercely squeezed his hand and complained, "What are you saying? Why would I be afraid of you? You are doing this for our safety. I can't even thank you enough. You don't think that I've become stupid from studying and can't distinguish between right and wrong, right?" Saying this, she even glared at him. Tang Jing laughed and said, "It's still our family Shishir who is sensible." Fang Shishir's face turned red as she bashfully said, "Who's your family Shishir? You're not ashamed. Of course it's you. Could it be that you're not a member of the Tang family? I won't talk to you anymore. My parents are over there. Let's go and greet them." Fang Shishir held Tang Zhang's hand as they walked in front of the couple. Fang Chongguo forced a smile and said, "Tang Jing, why are you here?" "I heard that something happened here, so I came to take a look." "Ah, what's going on?" Tang Jing feigned surprise as he pointed at the villa and asked. Shi Mengqin hatefully said, "I don't know which crazy bastard it is. Our Fang family has provoked him to actually do such a thing." Tang Jing bitterly laughed in his heart, but on the surface, he was like an ancient well without any ripples. He was one of the two crazy people. Fang Shishir scratched his palm, and the corner of her mouth hooked up as she secretly laughed. This place can no longer be lived in. You see, there are already many people moving. This time, such a vile incident occurred and people even died. We must immediately move. Shi Mengqin anxiously said. Fang Chongguo pondered for a moment before nodding his head in agreement. The Fang family did not only have this one property, so they moved overnight. Tang Jing naturally also joined the moving army. The two people returned to the room together and Fang Shishir impatiently hugged him. She fiercely kissed him and asked, "Daoist Tianji is so powerful. Are you injured?" Tang Jing moved his muscles and said, "Your boyfriend is so powerful. How could I be injured? Let me take a look." "Don't fool me." Fang Shishir hurriedly searched his body. In the end, she was not at ease and actually rolled up his clothes. She examined him from top to bottom, left to right, not letting go of a single detail. What is this?" Suddenly, Fang Shishir's gaze locked onto the teeth mark on Tang Zhang's shoulder. Although there were no longer any traces of blood, the teeth mark was still very clear. Tang Zhang was shocked. How could he have forgotten about this? However, it was especially at this time that he could not show any shock or fear. Instead, he acted as if nothing had happened and lightly said, "Oh, you're talking about this. Teacher Lu bit me." Teacher Lu Qingmei. Fang Shishir was even more shocked than before. Her eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. Why would she bite you? Did you do something to her? What are you thinking about? Tang Jing felt a bit guilty, but his expression was calm. Last time when I saved her from the hands of a criminal, I was accidentally bitten by her. Could it be that she was kidnapped a few days ago? Right, didn't I also go out to look for her? I just happened to find her with a policeman and conveniently saved her. You also know that I am very willing to help others. Tang Jing shamelessly said. Fang Shishir suspiciously looked at him. Seeing that he didn't have any abnormalities, she finally relaxed. She patted her chest, feeling that her reaction was a bit too extreme. She embarrassedly smiled and said, I also feel that it's impossible between you and Teacher Liu. She's an ice goddess. How many people want to get close to her? That's right, do you have any thoughts towards her? Tang Jing hurriedly said, absolutely not. Don't I already have you? You don't mean what you say. Tian Chanzi appeared and disdainfully said, this disciple of mine is just too kind. She can even believe the words of a man. If that's the case, then even pigs can climb trees. Tang Jing really wanted to roll his eyes. Aren't you a man? Of course I am, but I don't like women. Ah, could it be that you like men? Gay? Nonsense, I wholeheartedly cultivate. How could I have the leisure to think about a mess of male and female affairs? Tian Chanzi flew into a rage. Aren't you the one who forced me to do this? You even want me to cast a wide net to catch more fish. Tang Jing retorted. Hey, isn't this because of your special constitution? Tian Chanzi bitterly smiled. Tang Jing did not want to be entangled in this topic with him. Seeing Fang Shishir beaming with joy, he hurriedly changed the topic. Hurry up and pack up. You have so many things, it will take you half a day to pack up. The family packed up quite a few things and moved overnight to their new home. Only then did Tang Jing leave under Shi Mingqin's covetous gaze. Ordinary Balance's big movements became the topic of many people's conversations, but no one took it seriously. However, there were some people who took it seriously and were extremely cautious. When the sun was high up in the sky, several black off-road vehicles screamed as they arrived at the villa district. Most of the people here had already left, but the traces left behind from last night were even more obvious under the sunlight. It was a ghastly sight. A pair of long legs stepped out of the off-road vehicle. Beneath her feet were a pair of flat shoes, but when this person completely stood on the ground, she was like a crane in a flock of chickens. A height of 1.8 meters could be considered normal for a man, but for a woman, it was absolutely like a crane in a flock of chickens. This made her look a bit taller than the men beside her. Moreover, she did not have the common weakness of many tall women, a large frame. However, her frame was on the smaller side, so she looked very well proportioned. Her face was also very beautiful. Her pair of eyes were like a sharp blade hidden in her bangs, making it difficult for others to see through her thoughts. However, her aura made it impossible for others to ignore her. They were even unable to look directly at her, making them feel timid in their hearts. She walked towards the villa that was riddled with holes, and the police who were left behind to guard it immediately welcomed her. Who are you? This is the crime scene, you are not allowed to approach. She acted as if she did not hear anything and removed the yellow police tape, completely ignoring the two police officers. This aura caused the police officers to unconsciously take half a step back. I'm warning you, you are not allowed to come any closer. Otherwise, we won't be polite. The two police officers placed their hands on their holsters, ready to fire. She still did not listen and walked straight to the villa entrance. She quickly extended a hand. Her hand was not white, but rather a healthy wheat color. Bang! This hand grabbed the wall of the villa, and the hard brick was like a piece of tofu. Her seemingly weak fingers pierced into it, and then she pulled outwards, and a piece of broken marble appeared in her hand. The police officers at the side were already dumbfounded. This skill was too scary, and it was even a woman. However, they still remembered their duty and immediately took out their pistols and pointed them at her. "Don't move, or we'll shoot." She still did not react, only staring at the marble, as if the attraction of the stone was far greater than the two pistols. "Let's go." She finally opened her mouth. Her voice was very clear and melodious, just like an oriole, which was extremely inconsistent with her tall and lofty figure. A man's voice came from the car. "Wu, are you sure?" Her name was Wu, one word, a very strange name. Wu nodded. "I'm sure." Then, he walked straight to the SUV and got in without saying a word. The others filed in, and the SUV roared away as if it had never appeared. The two police officers did not dare to shoot from the beginning to the end. Although Wu was right in front of them, and the provocation was very strong, they did not have the courage to pull the trigger. Chapter 166. Inside the car, the atmosphere was heavy. Wu Dema sat down and said, "This is a battle between two cultivators, and they are not weak. I suspect that the members we lost last time were killed by one of them. Please add." "Oh, are you sure?" The man's voice rang out again. Wu muttered to himself for a while. "I'm sure, my intuition has never been wrong. Last time, our people were too careless, so they fell into the enemy's trap. But this time, we will go all out, so this group of people will not be able to get any benefits." The man's voice revealed a hint of a smile, without the decisiveness of Wu's killing intent. This group of cultivators, we must kill them all. If they dare to come to our world to cause trouble, then don't even think about living," Wu said with a murderous look. This time, two people appeared. "I don't know who the other person is. No matter who it is, they will all die. Killing all cultivators is the purpose of our martial sect." Wu's voice revealed a biting chill. "But this time it's really strange. A small ordinary balance would actually attract two cultivators. Is there anything special about this place?" "No, this is just an ordinary city. I heard that Yi Tianlei is in ordinary balance. He is a local tyrant. Find him and investigate. Maybe he knows something about what happened last night," Wu suggested. "All right." The car drove towards the Ye family's mansion and finally stopped in front of the Ye family. Wu got out of the car and said to the guard, "Call Yi Tianlei to see me." Wu was only in his 20s, but he directly called Yi Tianlei by his name, causing the guard to turn pale with fright. "Why are you looking for our master?" Wu's eyebrows immediately furrowed. She did not even look at the guard. With a tap of her foot, she soared into the sky. The several-meter-tall door was like flat ground under her feet. She steadily landed in the courtyard and walked towards the house with small steps. Her steps were small, but her speed was fast. In an instant, she arrived at the door of the house. Feng Xinyang had already come out to welcome her. Obviously, he had heard the guard's report. Feng Xinyang's eyes turned cold. She stared at the person and asked cautiously, "Who are you?" "Tell Yi Tianlei to come out." Marshall completely ignored Feng Xinyang and went straight to the point. "If you want to find Yi Tianlei, you'll have to get past me first." Feng Xinyang had an unkind expression on her face. Since the other party had come with ill intentions, the hot-tempered Feng Xinyang naturally would not be afraid. However, she was very surprised at the other party's cultivation. At such a young age, he was actually a first-grade innate stage, the same as her cultivation. However, Feng Xinyang was older than her by more than 10 years. From this, it could be seen that martial arts were not simple. "Are you Feng Xinyang?" Marshall asked. "You know me." Humph, 20 years ago, your reputation in the capital was not small. Of course I know. I heard from others that you were a heaven-defying genius. You did not become a disciple of any famous master, but you comprehended your own martial arts from some miscellaneous martial arts. Your strength is not inferior to those famous disciples. Marshall listed Feng Xinyang's great achievements as if he was familiar with his family's treasures. Feng Xinyang laughed. After so many years, there are still people who remember my name, Feng Xinyang. I don't know if I should be happy or not. Marshall shook his head seriously. You shouldn't be happy because I remember you. You will definitely taste the taste of failure and be stepped on by me. Hee hee, little girl, you boast shamelessly. Marshall replied to Feng Xinyang with actions. She took a small step forward and her hand was already in front of Feng Xinyang. She also said, the consummate skill you comprehended is called Wind Fire Blade. The wind is like fire and the fire is like a blade. It is a very strong martial art. It is reasonable to say that a woman is not suitable to cultivate this kind of martial art. However, you, Feng Xinyang, have comprehended it. Moreover, it is very powerful. Today, I will also use the strongest yang martial art to fight with you. As her voice fell, Marshall's hand chopped down like a blade. It was even more frightening than a real blade. This hand blade carried a biting cold yang qi. It was even more manly than a man. Feng Xinyang also made his move. It was also a hand blade. It carried the wind. This wind was like a blazing fire. It whistled as it welcomed the attack. Bang! The two hand blades chopped together. A muffled sound rang out. A gust of wind rose from the place where the hand blades came in contact. The wind blew the hair of the two people back. Both of their faces were very serious. However, their eyes became brighter and brighter. It was as if they had met their life's opponent. Good martial art. What kind of martial art is this? Feng Xinyang asked. Roaring Flame Blade. Roaring Flame Blade. The blade was like a raging flame. It was extremely masculine. Good name. Then I will use my Wind Fire Blade to test your Roaring Flame Blade. Feng Xinyang shouted in a low voice. Her body straightened. In an instant, she gave people a feeling of being tall. She was only 1.6 meters tall. Compared to Marshall, who was 1.8 meters tall, she looked very petite. However, when she straightened her body, it was as if she had suddenly grown several tens of centimeters. It made people feel that she was instantly tall. This kind of imposing manner was on par with Marshall. It completely made up for the difference in height between the two. Interesting. The corner of Marshall's mouth curled up. A very beautiful arc appeared. However, even this arc carried a kind of masculine beauty. It formed a strong contrast with her. It gave people a huge visual impact. The two of them took a step back at the same time. Then, they moved forward again. Another hand blade. The air seemed to have been ignited. With a crackling sound, an invisible wave of qi rippled out. The flowers and plants in front of the door were cut in half. It was a complete mess. As the parties involved, the two of them were like machines. They repeatedly waved their hand blades and chopped at each other. Things in all directions were affected. Not only were the flowers and plants in a mess, even the walls of the house had gullies. Debris flew everywhere. Stop! Suddenly, an angry roar rang out. Yi Tianlei rushed out of the house and punched towards Marshall. The air was compressed to the extreme in an instant. Following this punch, the air produced a muffled sound like that of thunder. The fist went straight for Marshall's face. However, Marshall acted as if she did not see it. She continued to wave her hand blade as if the fist was not aimed at her at all. If she were to be hit by this fist, her head would probably explode. However, in the end, there was no scene of blood splattering everywhere. A hand appeared beside Marshall. It had always been a very white hand. It was almost abnormal. It formed a strong visual contrast with Marshall's weak-colored skin. This hand was not big. It was much smaller than Yi Tianlei's hand. However, this hand stretched out its 5 fingers and wrapped around Yi Tianlei's fist. The fist could no longer move forward and steadily stopped in front of Marshall's face. Don't fight. Fighting is the most boring thing. The owner of the hand said. He was not tall. He was only 1.7 meters tall. He was very weak. Standing beside Marshall, he was like a child. His face was full of smiles. That smile was like a spring breeze. However, Yi Tianlei did not feel the slightest bit of a spring breeze. Instead, he was shocked. Truly shocked. This small man was about the same age as Yi Tianlei. However, because of the smile on his face, it made him look much younger and harmless. However, Yi Tianlei knew that he could not see through the opponent's cultivation. Moreover, when his fist hit the opponent's palm, it was like hitting cotton. There was not even the slightest bit of rebound. The palm absorbed all the power of his fist. Yi Tianlei was very clear about the power of his fist. However, the opponent absorbed it so easily. He found it hard to believe. Who are you people? Yi Tianlei asked in a deep voice. The man let go of his hand, and Marshall and Feng Xinyang both stopped at the same time. Feng Xinyang stared at the other party like a tiger watching its prey. Towards this uninvited guest, she and her husband were too afraid. I am called Ding Yi. She is called Marshall. The man smiled and pointed at himself. He then pointed at Marshall. Then, from his pocket, he took out a token made of an unknown material. On it, the word Marshall was engraved. The token flashed in front of Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang before it was put into his pocket. However, the two of them clearly saw it. Feng Xinyang did not have much of a reaction. She even revealed a puzzled expression. However, she instantly saw her husband's reaction was very big. The two of them had known each other for dozens of years. She had never seen him have such a big reaction. Even the corner of his mouth slightly twitched. He blurted out, Martial Organization. Ding Yi smiled and nodded. I knew that Yi Tianlei would recognize this token. My guess was not wrong. Martial Organization. It really is the Martial Organization. Yi Tianlei loudly cried out in his heart. He had only heard his father mention this Martial Organization once. However, that time was unforgettable. The Martial Organization is a very special organization. It is above the government and the large families. This organization is said to have been established for nearly 1,000 years. There are many experts and no one dares to contend with them. This organization rarely interferes with the large families and the government. Their purpose is not known to outsiders. However, as long as the Martial Organization appears, it will be a very serious matter. If one is targeted by the Martial Organization, then it is really the death god's gaze. That year, Yi Xuanji had warned Yi Tianlei not to be involved with the Martial Organization. Even more so, he must not be the enemy of the Martial Organization. Otherwise, even if it is the Ya family, they will only be crushed into powder. Yi Xuanji's earnest teachings were still ringing in Yi Tianlei's ears. Today, Yi Tianlei finally saw a real Martial Organization person. Although the token only had a simple martial word on it, it was still a Martial Organization token. No one dared to doubt its authenticity, and no one dared to forge this token. Moreover, to many people, the martial organization is an organization that does not exist. Only the top powers in the world know of its existence. Feng Xinyang looked at her husband's face, which was constantly changing. She already understood the seriousness of the matter. She was especially vigilant towards these two people. Her body was in a state of battle readiness, ready to attack at any time. As for the two words martial organization, she had never heard of it. She was very curious, but she did not ask. Yi Tianlei took a deep breath. Trying to suppress his inner emotions, he asked in a deep voice, "May I ask why the martial organization is looking for me, Yi Tianlei?" Ding Yi's smile became wider and said, "Not bad. Unexpectedly, you are not intimidated by the name of the martial organization. In these years, among the people I have met, you, Yi Tianlei, can be considered one of the best. I took the trouble to look for you. Of course there is a matter. However, your hospitality is really questionable. You actually did not invite the two of us in to have a seat." Ding Yi's tone was like that of a good friend. However, Yi Tianlei did not dare to treat him as a friend. Even if his heart was unwilling, he could only extend his hand and say, "Please." Chapter 167. Both sides sat down and Ding Yi looked around, smiling as he sighed. "You two husband and wife have developed well in ordinary balance these past few years." Sogu, 360, So searched JDXS free novel, "You flatter me," Yi Tianlei said cautiously. No need to be so nervous, I won't kill anyone. Although I have killed many people in the past, I am not in the mood to kill today." Ding Yi waved his hand, laughing and joking, but his words revealed a killing intent that made people's heart palpitate. Marshall kept staring at Feng Xinyang with a serious expression. Her killing intent was very strong, completely different from Ding Yi's smiling face. Yi Tianlei glanced at Marshall and then turned his gaze back to Ding Yi. Compared to Marshall, who showed off her abilities, this Ding Yi made him even more unsure, making him even more fearful. "I wonder what the two of you are here for?" Yi Tianlei asked in a deep voice. Ding Yi smiled. "I'll have to trouble the two of you to help me find a person. After all, you are the local tyrants." "Who?" "I don't know." Ding Yi shook his head. Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang frowned at the same time and said, "Are the two of you making fun of us?" "Of course not. We don't know who the person we are looking for is, but we have a clue. Last night ordinary balance made such a big commotion, you should know about it, right?" Yi Tianlei nodded, waiting for the other to continue. "We want to find out who made such a big commotion." Ding Yi finally revealed the purpose of their trip. Yi Tianlei shook his head. "I am about to return to Beijing, so I don't care about ordinary balance, so I can't help the two of you." "Oh, so the two of you won't cooperate?" Ding Yi asked. "It's not that we don't want to cooperate, but we don't know." Yi Tianlei explained, not wanting the other to misunderstand. "So it's like that, but with the two of you controlling ordinary balance, it shouldn't be hard to find out the truth." Ding Yi slowly said. "Just who are you looking for?" Feng Xinyang couldn't help but ask. "Enemy," Marshall coldly replied. "I don't think anyone in ordinary balance is qualified to be your enemy," Feng Xinyang retorted. Although she did not understand what kind of organization the martial organization was, from her husband's reaction, she could see the strength of this organization. They had stayed in a small place like ordinary balance for more than 20 years, but they had never found such a powerful person. Ding Yi smiled and said, "Feng Xinyang, is this a compliment to the Wu Zone?" "Ha, thanks a lot. But who knows what will happen in this world? That person last night is our enemy, and the enemy of the martial organization." As he spoke, he looked deeply into Yi Tianlei's eyes. Yi Tianlei understood the meaning behind his gaze, but he was incomparably shocked. Just who was this person that could actually become the enemy of a martial organization? Then I'll change the question. Are there any strange people in ordinary balance recently? For example, some aspects that are beyond common sense. Ding Yi asked again. Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang's hearts simultaneously flashed a person, but they immediately hid this thought, not revealing the slightest trace of it. Ordinary balance is like an ancient well without ripples. There really isn't such a powerful person. Yi Tianlei said. You're lying. Marshall suddenly loudly reprimanded, just now you hesitated for a moment. You must have thought of someone, right? Marshall's aggressive attitude made Feng Xinyang very unhappy, and she immediately retorted, since you don't believe us, why ask us? Ding Yi smiled and waved his hand, there is no need to be so angry. The two of you carefully think about it. This person is the enemy of our martial organization. Yi Tianlei, you should be clear on the seriousness of this matter. Yi Tianlei of course was clear on the seriousness of this matter, but he did not believe that Tang Zheng was the person they were looking for. To be able to become the enemy of a martial organization, he must be an extremely powerful person. How could he be a martial organization martial artist that had just started practicing martial arts? However, Tang Zheng's miraculous performance had left a deep impression on him. The average person would not be able to do this, so he and Feng Xinyang both thought of Tang Zheng. The two of you, there is no need to use the martial organization's name to scare me. The martial organization is indeed powerful, and of course I also know the seriousness of this matter. However, I truly do not know who the two of you are looking for is. This ordinary balance is also not worth the two of you making such a big fuss over. Yi Tianlei thought for a moment, and seriously said. Ding Yi smiled, I heard that Yi Xuanji failed to break through to the martial scholar realm and was injured. Originally, he did not have much time left, but he was healed by ordinary balance. However, he is very secretive about this matter. I believe that the two of you should know the details. If you still say that ordinary balance is not a special person, then I'm afraid that no one would believe you. Yi Tianlei's heart thumped. This matter was only known to the few people involved. He did not expect that the other party would also think of this matter. However, Yi Tianlei still calmly said, this is all due to the efforts of the King of Medicine. Ding Yi shook his head, this is really distressing. Even at this time you still won't speak the truth. How can the King of Medicine's abilities not be known by the martial organization? Just who was it that saved Yi Xuanji? It is still not too late to say it now. I don't know what you are talking about. Yi Tianlei firmly said. Ding Yi shrugged his shoulders, then there is nothing to talk about. If there is nothing to talk about then let's fight. I don't like to talk anyway. Listening to you being so long-winded for so long is completely useless. Marshall impatiently said. Ding Yi spread out his hands, everything can be discussed first. This is the normal procedure. Moreover, if we fight without discussing, others will think that the martial organization is unreasonable. Since when does the martial organization need to care about what others think? Marshall coldly said. That is true. The smile on Ding Yi's face became even wider, but it made people panic. This smile had a very dangerous taste to it. There are guests in the house. Yi Dingdang walked in and curiously looked at the two strangers. Your two daughters are already so big. Ding Yi said with a smile. Feng Xinyang stood up and pulled Yi Dingdang to her side and said, the two of you, our house does not welcome you. Please leave. So you are saying that you will not cooperate? Ding Yi asked. Yi Tianlei also stood up, it is not that we do not want to cooperate, but that we do not have the information you want. Oh, then there is no other way. Marshall, it seems that we can only use your method. Ding Yi shrugged his shoulders and helplessly said. Marshall stood up and in an instant, the atmosphere in the hall changed. Swords were drawn and bows were drawn. Yi Ding Dang stared with wide eyes. Although she did not understand what was going on, it was clear that they did not come with good intentions. In addition, the other side's oppressive aura made her heart tremble. She could not help but ask, "What are they doing?" "Of course it is to fight, little miss," Ding Yi said with a smile. Yi Ding Dong's eyes trembled. She did not back down and said, "Then you will have to pass through me first." She was truly a newborn calf that was not afraid of the tiger. She jumped up and was about to rush towards the other side. Fortunately, Feng Xinyang's eyes were sharp and his hands were quick. He grabbed her and said in an unprecedentedly strict voice, "Do not move. They have already come knocking on our door. Don't tell me we can't fight back," Yi Ding Dang said indignantly. Feng Xinyang whispered into her ear in a voice that only the two of them could hear, "This battle is unavoidable. The other side's background is very big and their strength is also very strong. When the fight starts, you should quickly leave and find the little handsome brother. Hide, you must not be discovered by these two people." Yi Ding Dang was about to refute when she heard Feng Xinyang sternly say, "This time you must listen to me." Yi Ding Dang swallowed the words that were about to come out of her mouth. She was not an insensible person. Seeing that her parents were so cautious, the other side must be very powerful. "Are you done whispering to each other?" Ding Yi asked with interest. "Ding Dang, quickly leave." Feng Xinyang pushed Yi Ding Dang towards the door and like a bullet, he flew out of the hall. Marshall's figure flashed and wanted to intercept him, but Feng Xinyang quickly attacked Marshall and blocked her path. Ding Yi did not move and slowly stood up. He looked at Yi Tianlei and said, "You make the first move. Otherwise, if I make the first move, you won't have any leeway to retaliate." Yi Tianlei did not question the other's arrogance. Just based on the fact that the other side had casually received his fist, he had the qualifications to say such words. Roar! Yi Tianlei let out a low roar and rushed forward like a bull. His fist rushed forward without any fancy moves. It looked like a simple punch. However, in front of an expert, the power of this punch was not to be underestimated. Ding Yi stretched out his hand. His hand was very soft as he lightly welcomed the punch. Without a sound, the fist directly hit Ding Yi's palm. Ding Yi's hand was pushed back a few centimeters and then quickly wrapped around it. Yi Tianlei was very clear that as long as his opponent's hand wrapped around his fist, he would not be able to attack. Thus, he hastily withdrew his fist and took a small step back. Ding Yi's hand was like a shadow, always a few centimeters away from Yi Tianlei's fist. Seeing this, Yi Tianlei punched out with both his fists. Two strong gusts of wind swept out and attacked Ding Yi. Ding Yi was calm and composed, his face still had a smile. Like before, his hand gently brushed past the two fists. Yi Tianlei felt as if he had been hit by 1,000 caddies of heavy force and involuntarily took a few steps back. This seemingly simple sweep was actually more powerful than Yi Tianlei's two fists. It was hard to believe. What kind of martial arts is this? Soft palm. Ding Yi said. Yi Tianlei's eyebrows wrinkled. He had heard of this martial art before. It was very difficult to get started in this martial art, and it was even more difficult to train to a certain level. However, once one reached a higher level, the power was extremely terrifying. Using softness to overcome strength, Yi Tianlei's attack was stronger than his opponent's counterattack. Of course, if one's martial arts far exceeded the opponent's, then one could still use a strong enough attack to destroy the opponent's seemingly invincible soft palm. Yi Tianlei, it's not too late for you to speak now. Otherwise, it will really be too late. This matter is far more serious than you can imagine. Ding Yi said. Yi Tianlei coldly snorted, "There's nothing to say. Your martial organization uses your power to bully others. If I don't die, then I definitely won't let this matter rest. Since that's the case, then I won't be polite. Ding Yi floated forward as if he had escaped the gravitational pull of the planet. His palm swept towards Yi Tianlei. Chapter 168. Yi Tianlei sent out a fist and Ding Yi sent out a palm. The fist and palm collided. Yi Tianlei let out a muffled groan as he staggered back, clearly suffering a great loss. Please add, Ding Yi took advantage of this as his soft palm rushed forward, pressing towards Yi Tianlei's chest. Yi Tianlei's two fists were reversed and placed in front of his chest, but it was like a clay ox entering the sea. Ding Yi's palm produced a large suction force that swallowed up all of the energy on his fists and then wrapped around Yi Tianlei's palm. Ho! Yi Tianlei faced the sky and roared, wanting to break free from the two hands but to no avail. He retreated, Ding Yi advanced, one retreated, one advanced, the two of them went from the center of the hall to the wall. Pang! A loud sound rang out as the wall was smashed into pieces, forming a human shape. Yi Tianlei's face was red, his eyes were filled with anger but there was nothing he could do. I already said that if I made a move, you wouldn't have the power to fight back. Ding Yi lightly said, full of confidence. Yi Tianlei was unresigned as he angrily roared, that may not be the case. His two fists actually scattered, the internal energy on his fists also quickly disappeared as he broke free from the two soft palms. At the same time, the veins on Yi Tianlei's forehead popped out, clearly he was in great pain. Ding Yi was flabbergasted. Impressive, you actually dispersed your internal energy and broke free from my restraints. You have keen eyes, to be able to see through my weakness in an instant. But without the protection of your internal energy, your hand will be heavily injured. As if to prove the validity of his words, with a kacha sound, Yi Tianlei's fingers broke. The pain on his face became even more intense as he clenched his teeth, ignoring the pain, and once again clenched his fists. Boom! A loud sound rang out as a wave of air surged out. Ding Yi's chest was hit by the two fists and was sent flying. Ding Yi's face suddenly changed, his smile had a trace of coldness as he coldly said, Strong, you actually did not hesitate to injure me. I have to admit that you, Yi Tianlei, are not simple, but in the end you are not my opponent. Ding Yi's heel fiercely stomped on the ground, stopping his retreat. Then like a catkin, he floated over. Yi Tianlei wanted to block but the other's hand was already on his chest. Pang! Yi Tianlei flew out like a cannonball, fiercely smashing into the wall. With a boom, a large hole appeared in the wall. Feng Xinyang saw this scene and turned pale with fright. Heavenly thunder. No matter who you are, I will kill you. Feng Xinyang roared as he chopped at Marshall's head. Pooh! A ripple appeared in the air as Marshall also used a roaring flame blade. With a rumbling sound, Marshall was actually sent flying. Feng Xinyang's mouth immediately began to bleed. It was clear that in order to force the enemy to retreat, she had used this move and her internal organs had been shaken. However, she no longer cared about her injuries as she rushed towards Yi Tianlei and hurriedly helped him up. Yi Tianlei's face was deathly pale, the clothes on his chest had been torn apart and a palm print was imprinted on his chest. It was a ghastly sight. If you have the guts then kill us. Otherwise, I will definitely find you for revenge and kill everyone in your martial organization. Feng Xinyang roared. Hee, don't be angry. Victory and defeat are common in war. I already said that I do not want to kill anyone today so you will temporarily not die. Ding Yi's smile was still the same, but it made people feel a chill from the bottom of their hearts. Ding Yi and Marshall walked step by step towards Feng Xinyang. Feng Xinyang carried her husband on her back and retreated step by step out of the hole in the wall. Want to escape? I'm afraid it won't be that easy. Ding Yi lightly said. Just as he finished speaking, Marshall's body flashed and blocked Feng Xinyang's escape route. Being attacked from the front and back and her husband being heavily injured, Feng Xinyang had no way of escaping. Actually, I am very curious as to where you secretly took your daughter. But don't worry, we will investigate clearly. If you are related to the enemies of the Marshall organization, then even if Yi Xuanji appears, he will not be able to protect you. I don't even know what you are talking about. What enemies of the Marshall organization? We don't even know. Feng Xinyang gnashed her teeth and said. Don't worry, we will investigate clearly. After Ding Yi finished speaking, he floated over and pressed his palm forward. Feng Xinyang raised her hand to block but was still restrained by that pair of soft hands. The Ye family couple was captured alive and fell into the hands of the Marshall organization. Marshall, you go chase after that little girl. Ding Yi said. Marshall wordlessly accepted the order and left. Yi Dingdang madly ran while dialing Tang Zhang's number. Hey, where are you? I just got home, what's wrong? Tang Zhang curiously asked. Yi Dingdang's breathing was very heavy, which made him feel a little strange. Okay, wait for me, we must leave immediately. Yi Dingdang did not foolishly go back to save her parents. She never did things sloppily. This point was very similar to Feng Xinyang. Since Feng Xinyang told her to run, then she would not turn back because she had absolute trust in Feng Xinyang. What happened? Tang Zhang had never seen Yi Dingdang so panicked before and could not help but be shocked. I can't explain in a few sentences, wait for me. Tang Zhang listened to the beeping sound and was at a loss as to what to do. Just what had happened? Hearing her tone, it seemed like there was a great danger. He could not guess clearly, so he greeted his grandfather and then went downstairs. After a while, he saw Yi Dingdang madly running over, sweating profusely and in a slightly sorry state. What happened? Tang Zhang asked. Yi Dingdang took a deep breath as her chest heaved up and down. Her jet black hair and sweat stood on her forehead. She lacked her usual valiant appearance and had a trace of feminine beauty. But her expression was not gentle at all, instead it was a mixture of nervousness and worry. 2 experts came to my house. My father and Feng Xinyang are dealing with them. Feng Xinyang told me to find you and then hide. Yi Dingdang explained the situation in a few words. Tang Zhang's expression suddenly changed. Even the 2 of them can't deal with them, and then they told you to escape. These 2 were first-grade innate stage experts. An enemy that they could not deal with, how strong must they be? He was completely unaware that the Ye family suffered an unexpected calamity because of him. How did your family have such a powerful enemy? How would I know? Yi Dingdang unhappily said, when I returned home, I saw the situation with swords drawn and bows bent. Then Feng Xinyang told me to find you and escape together. Then you don't know what's the situation with your family. I ran all the way, how would I know? Tang Zhang nodded, then come with me. Since such a powerful expert appeared in ordinary balance, Tang Zhang naturally had to make preparations. If Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang could deal with the enemy, then everything would be easily solved. If they could not, then Tang Zhang's days would not be easy. Of course, since Feng Xinyang told Yi Dingdang to find him, he could not refuse Yi Dingdang, so the 2 took a taxi and rushed to a remote house in the north of the city. Huang Xiang was placed here. Since the enemy was so powerful, then he needed Huang Xiang's help even more. When Yi Dingdang saw Huang Xiang, she almost screamed, "Why is he here?" She still remembered the time when Huang Xiang and Tang Zhang were like fire and water. Don't be afraid, he is one of my people. Tang Zhang comforted. Yi Dingdang was bewildered as she deeply looked at Huang Xiang, only to see him sitting there without saying a word. Even his eyes were tightly shut. The two people entering did not cause him to have the slightest reaction. Tang Jing knew that Huang Xiang was cultivating, so he did not disturb him. He said in a low voice, "This place is absolutely safe. It is very difficult for ordinary people to find it." "That's good. What's going on with him?" Yi Dingdang pointed at Huang Xiang and asked. "Don't worry about him. First, find out what happened to your family." "How would I know? I have never seen those two people, but they are definitely not weaker than my parents," Yi Dingdang said worriedly. Tang Zhang's eyebrows trembled. "That's strange. How could such powerful experts appear in ordinary balance? I'm also very strange. Also, there was such a big commotion in ordinary balance last night. It seems that some people said that it was caused by a fight between experts," Yi Dingdang said suspiciously. Tang Jing smiled embarrassedly and did not mention last night's matter. He continued to say, "Right now, our top priority is to find out what happened to your family." Yi Dingdang nodded. "Right, we have to find out. During this time, my father dismissed all of his subordinates. Otherwise, we would have been able to delay this group of people. These past few years, the Ya family had been in business for a long time. Although they did not involve themselves in matters of the underworld, they still had their own power. However, because Yi Tianlei wanted to return to Beijing, this group of people had been dismissed. This was also the reason why there was such a big commotion in the Ya family's manor, but not a single helper. I will send someone to investigate the area around your family," Tang Zheng said as he dialed Lin Hu's number. He told him to send some smart people to the Ya family's area, but be careful not to be discovered. Hearing him make the call, Yi Dingdang suspiciously said, "It seems like your relationship with the underworld in ordinary balance is getting better and better. Especially this Lin Hu. I heard that Huang Xi died and his territory was taken over by Lin Hu." As she said this, she curiously turned her head to look at Huang Xiang. However, she saw that his eyes were closed. He did not have the slightest reaction when Huang Xi was mentioned. This made her very surprised. Tang Jing smiled and did not answer this question. For a moment, the atmosphere in the room was a bit awkward. Tang Jing hesitated for a moment before breaking the silence and asking, "Is it your family's enemy who came this time?" "Definitely not. My family doesn't have any enemies." "That's not necessarily true. Last time on Ordinary Balance Mountain, didn't someone try to assassinate you?" Tang Jing disagreed. After that assassination attempt, Yi Dingdang did not encounter any more danger and Yi Tianlei's investigation also did not have any clues. Originally, he thought that there would be people who would harm Yi Dingdang. Feng Xinyang even asked Tang Jing to protect Yi Dingdang at school. However, nothing happened in the end. So much time had passed that he almost forgot about it. When Yi Dingdang was reminded of that assassination attempt, she still felt a lingering fear. If it wasn't for Tang Jing, she would have already become a wandering ghost on Ordinary Balance Mountain. She deeply looked at Tang Jing and could not help but think that the two times she met with danger, it was Tang Jing who asked for help. It was as if he was her savior. "Hang, who wants him to save me? My cultivation will soon break through to the 6th grade refining body. At that time, I will be able to surpass him," she thought unhappily. Suddenly, her phone rang. It was Lin Hu calling. Chapter 169. Young Master Tang, something big has happened. The Ya family seems to have been attacked by someone. It is said that the Ya family has been taken away, Lin Hu said in a panic. He had been in the Ordinary Balance for many years, so of course he knew that the Ya family was not someone he could provoke. They were true martial experts, but this time they were actually taken away. It was truly inconceivable. Tang Zheng's head sank as he asked, "Do you know where those people are?" "I don't know. Young Master Tang, they are definitely foreign dragons." "What should we do?" Tang Zheng muttered, "You do your own thing. Also, look for clues about the Ye family. If you have any clues then tell me." "I understand. Young Master Tang, pay attention to your safety." Yi Dingdang saw him hang up and quickly asked, "How is my family?" Tang Jing frowned and shook his head, "Your parents were taken away but I don't know where they are." Yi Dingdang's face suddenly changed. She originally thought that with her parents' cultivation, even if they were not a match, they would still have a chance to escape. She did not expect that they would be taken away. Then what should we do? She was at a loss. We have to think of a way to save them. Tang Jing thought about how good this couple was to him and made a decision. Yi Dingdang looked at him gratefully and said, "Thank you, Tang Jing." Originally, Tang Jing did not need to be involved in this mess but he resolutely chose to save them. Yi Dingdang was incomparably moved. The most important thing is to find out where these people came from. Why do they want to deal with your family? Tang Jing thought for a moment and said. In Yi Dingdang, anyone who dared not cooperate with them could be captured. This kind of arrogance showed a huge amount of confidence. Shameless thug. My family did not cooperate with you so you took them away. How can there be such logic in this world? Yi Dingdang was flustered and exasperated. Marshall was unmoved and coldly said, I have such logic here. You. Yi Dingdang was so angry that she was speechless. Tang Jing stared at the other party with a burning gaze, as if he wanted to study her thoroughly. This person was undoubtedly a person with exceptionally strong martial strength and mentality. Even though Tang Jing was very courageous, facing her, he couldn't help but feel a little scared. However, now was not the time to be fearful. For such a dragon to appear in ordinary balance, he had to find out the opponent's background. If not, the territory that he had just snatched from Huang Si would be in danger. Therefore, he did not fly into a rage. Instead, he calmly asked, Who are you? Marshall was also looking at him. This was the only person she could not see through. She was faintly excited, as if she was about to find her target. However, the other party seemed to be too young and didn't show much of an imposing aura, so she was a little puzzled and didn't rush to make a move. She opened her mouth slightly and softly spat out a word, Martial. Martial arts. Tang Zhang and Yi Dingdang were both very surprised. That is my name. I come from the martial organization. Have you heard of it before? Marshall purposely said the two words, martial organization, very clearly. At the same time, she stared unblinkingly at Tang Jing, hoping to see some clues from his reaction. However, she was disappointed. Other than being puzzled, Tang Jing did not have any other reaction. Could it be that he isn't a cultivator? Hearing the two words martial organization, he didn't have any reaction. Of course, Tang Jing did not have any reaction. He had never heard of this organization before. Daoist Tianji had gone through untold hardships to find out that there was an organization that targeted cultivators. However, even he did not know the name of the organization. Tang Jing naturally would not link the martial organization to the organization that he was afraid of. What kind of organization is the martial organization? Yi Dingdang curiously asked. Marshall did not look at her. She continued to stare unblinkingly at Tang Jing and said, an organization that specializes in killing cultivators. The two words, cultivator, to ordinary people was an unfamiliar word. Even a martial artist like Yi Dingdang had never heard of it. Therefore, she was confused. Other than being surprised, she did not have any other reaction. However, when Tang Jing heard these words, his heart jumped. Martial organization. So the organization that targeted cultivators was the martial organization. I actually met them. His eyes could not help but fluctuate a little. Just this fluctuation was enough because Marshall could clearly see this fluctuation. Her eyes could not help but light up. Her eyes also became incomparably cold and filled with killing intent. She pointed at Tang Zhang and said, "You are a cultivator." Yi Ding-dang turned her head to look at Tang Zhang. She was baffled. Tang Zhang almost jumped up. This woman was too cunning. She actually saw through his identity. This was the first time that his identity as a cultivator had been seen through by someone other than a cultivator. Wearing out iron shoes in a fruitless search only to find it by chance. Ordinary balance, this small place actually has a cultivator. Hang, this trip to ordinary balance is truly fruitful. Marshall said to herself excitedly. Since he had been seen through, Tang Zhang did not need to hide anymore. He went straight to the point and asked, "Then what do you want?" "Of course I want to capture you. Then I will find more of your kind and kill all of you." Marshall's killing intent soared. It caused the surrounding yin qi to violently fluctuate, causing people's hearts to tremble. Chapter 170. Tang Zhang's face turned ashen. This martial organization was truly vicious. Not only did she want to kill him, she also wanted to catch all the cultivators in one fell swoop. Tian Chanzi angrily roared, "Brat, you must get rid of her. You must also get rid of that martial organization. I'm so angry. I cannot complete this task alone, so I will need you to put in a lot of effort." Tang Zhang said. "No problem. Once this matter is over, we will immediately go find a carrier. I must recover my strength and let this martial organization see the true strength of a cultivator." This time Tian Chanzi unexpectedly did not refuse. It seemed that the martial organization matter had angered him quite a bit. Yi Ding-dang looked at Marshall and then looked at Yi Ding-dang. It was as if she did not recognize him. He was actually a cultivator. What was a cultivator? What is a cultivator? She asked blankly. Marshall rushed to say, "You don't even know what a cultivator is, yet you still dare to be with him. You are a martial artist, so you should not be with a cultivator. Cultivators are the enemy of martial artists. We should exterminate all cultivators. It's that serious." Yi Ding-dang was dumbstruck. Marshall seriously said, "It's much more serious than that. Cultivators are the outliers of this world. They are the biggest enemy of us martial artists." "Nonsense. What did cultivators do to you that you have to exterminate them?" Tang Zhang flew into a rage. "Everyone is cultivating to increase their strength. Why do you have to categorize us cultivators as outliers? This is a rule passed down from generation to generation. Naturally, there is a reason for it. It is not up to you to point fingers." Marshall disdainfully said, "If you cooperate and give up your own kind, I will let you die a little easier. Otherwise, I will make you wish you were dead. If you want to kill me, then come." Tang Zhang said fearlessly. Yi Ding-dang was not clear on what a cultivator was, but she knew that she and Tang Zhang were together, and that the high and mighty woman in front of them was their enemy, so she did not hesitate to stand by Tang Zhang's side and firmly said, "If you want to kill us, then come. Don't think that we are afraid of you." "Interesting. First, let me guess your cultivation level. 2nd grade or 3rd grade qi refining? At your age, reaching the 4th grade of refining qi is already very rare and commendable. After all, the spirit qi of heaven and earth is so thin, it is impossible for you to cultivate that quickly." Marshall was not in a hurry to make a move. Before killing a cultivator, she liked to see the fear on their faces the most. This made her feel even better than killing them. "Sorry to disappoint you, but I am already at the 6th grade refining qi," Tang Zhang coldly said. 6th grade refining chi. Marshall raised her eyebrows and became serious. You are so young, yet you are already at the 6th grade refining chi. How is that possible? Hang, this only shows that you are inexperienced. Tang Jing disdainfully said. His opponent's high and mighty attitude made him feel very uncomfortable. Very good, it's been a long time since I met such an interesting prey. Your cultivation level is so high, which means that your kind is even more extraordinary. This time, it seems that we have caught a big fish. If it weren't for you guys causing such a big commotion in ordinary balance, we wouldn't have found this place. Hey, you are courting death. Marshall's eyes became brighter and brighter as if she was a hunter who had found her prey. If you want to kill me, then let's see if you have the ability. Tang Jing calmly said. You are too weak. There is nothing to worry about. Marshall directly walked towards Tang Jing, determined to win. I will fight you to the death. Yi Dingdang tenderly shouted and immediately rushed forward. However, she was fiercely held back by Tang Jing as he quietly watched the opponent approach. What are you doing? Don't tell me you want to surrender. At most, we will fight it out with her. We can't let her have an easy time. Yi Dingdang heroically said. Tang Jing did not pay him any attention as he silently circulated the ancient clear heaven scroll. His true chi quickly entered the command medallion and a black light flashed as Tang Jing quickly threw the command medallion out. Marshall, however, was not afraid at all. She stretched out her hand and grabbed the token. She jokingly said, Is this the power of your treasure? Tang Jing sneered in ridicule. Marshall's heart suddenly jumped as if she had a bad premonition. Suddenly, the ghost messenger token's black light expanded and completely enveloped her hand. She felt a cold and gloomy aura rush towards her. Whoosh! A cold wind blew in all directions. The ghost door appeared out of thin air and appeared in front of Marshall. She was shocked. It was obvious that she had never seen such a situation before. However, she did not throw away the token, nor did she retreat. Instead, she stared at the ghost door that appeared out of thin air. A cold wind angrily howled as it swept out from the ghost door. In an instant, the surrounding yin qi increased greatly. So, a sound suddenly rang out as a large blade appeared from the ghost door. It directly chopped towards her head. This time, she finally retreated and dodged the blade. The ghost messenger token fell to the ground. A tall figure rushed out from the ghost door. In his hand was a blade. On the blade's hilt was a ghost head with a green face and fangs. It was extremely terrifying. Ghost General. Little brat, your luck is really good. You actually summoned a Ghost General. Tian Chanzi suddenly shouted in surprise. What is a Ghost General? Is it stronger than a Ghost Messenger? Tang Jing curiously asked. Of course it is stronger than a Ghost Messenger. A Ghost Messenger is the weakest in the Ghost realm. Above them is a Ghost Soldier. Above the Ghost Soldier is a Ghost General. It is 2 levels higher than a Ghost Messenger. What do you think? This little girl is a first-grade innate stage cultivator. This Ghost General does not lose to her. Moreover, the Ghost General's Ghost Head Blade is a profound level treasure. It is not like a Ghost Messenger that is condensed from Yin Qi. Tian Chanzi said without stopping. Tang Zheng was overjoyed at the unexpected good news. He asked, how did this Ghost Messenger token summon a Ghost General? Hi hey, last time the Ghost Realm lost 2 Ghost Messengers. This is a very rare occurrence. Just now when you activated the Ghost Messenger token, the Ghost Realm naturally sensed it. Of course they would not send Ghost Messengers to their deaths. This Ghost General clearly came to investigate the death of the Ghost Messengers. This little girl bumped into the blade's edge and coincidentally blocked the blade for you. Enchanting gloated. Look at the idea I gave you this time. Killing two birds with one stone. Enchanting said proudly. Tang Zheng could not help but admit that Enchanting really did a good deed this time. Just as he was about to praise him, he discovered that Yi Dingdang was trembling. Her teeth were chattering and her expression was uglier than if she were crying. She pointed at the Ghost General and asked, "What is that?" "Ghost General." Tang Zheng said. "Ghost General, is it a ghost?" Her face had already become deathly pale and her lips had turned green. "Of course it's a ghost," Tang Zheng said. Yi Dingdang rolled her eyes and screamed, "Ghost." She actually jumped up and jumped onto Tang Zheng's body. She tightly hooked onto his neck and her graceful body pressed down on his body. She was trembling like a sieve. Tang Zheng was shocked. Was there a need to have such a big reaction? Hey, that's because your nerves are thick. That's why you're not afraid of ghosts. Normal people are naturally afraid of ghosts. Enchanting explained. Tang Zheng suddenly realized that his nerves were really thick. When he was looking for a carrier in the morgue, he was a little scared at first. But after seeing more, he did not feel anything. Especially when he saw the evil spirits and ghost messengers, he was not afraid at all. Instead, he rushed up and dealt with them. This was not something a normal person would do. Ghost? How could there be a ghost? Yi Dingdang was about to cry. Just a moment ago when she was facing Marshall, she was still heroic. But now when she spoke, she was sobbing. Tang Zheng glanced at the Ghost General. He was clearly more pleasing to the eye than Marshall. What was there to be afraid of? Tang Zheng patted her shoulder and comforted her, "Don't be afraid. This Ghost General is helping us. Didn't you see him fighting with that bad woman? He's a ghost. Why would he help us?" Hey, I'll explain it to you later." Tang Zheng smiled and said, "Quickly come down. If you continue to strangle my neck, I will also become a ghost." "Ah!" Yi Dingdang heard the word ghost and screamed. She jumped down from his body and fiercely hit him. She weakly said, "Don't scare me." Tang Zheng shrugged and said, "Okay, I won't scare you. But there's really nothing to be afraid of." Yi Dingdang gathered her courage and looked at the Ghost General. She curiously asked, "Could it be that this is the power of a cultivator? They can actually make a ghost help them fight?" Tang Zheng chuckled. He did not comment. He did not have the strength to do so. It was just a coincidence. He also looked at Marshall with schadenfreude. He coldly laughed, "Want to kill me? Then I'll let you drink a pot first." It was not that Marshall had never come into contact with cultivators. She had even killed one before. However, she had never come into contact with ghosts. Looking at the Ghost General, her face was no longer calm. Instead, it became unprecedentedly dignified. "The Ghost Envoy token is in your hands. You dare to kill my Ghost Envoys. Today, I will scatter your 3 souls and 7 spirits. I will make you disappear from this world forever." The Ghost General roared. His voice was like a large bell. It shook people's eardrums. Wherever his feet passed, the weeds would wither. This Yin Qi was the aura of death. Its power was peerless. Marshall looked at the nearby Tang Zheng who was rejoicing in her misfortune. She coldly said, "Then let's see if you die or I die. All cultivators will die in my hands." It was clear that she had placed the Ghost General in the ranks of her enemy cultivators. The ghost head blade flickered with a black light. It chopped down in the air. The malevolent ghost head on the hilt lit up with a black light. Then, a ghost head flew out from the blade. It opened its bloody mouth and bit towards Marshall's neck. Roaring flame blade! Marshall shouted. Her hand chopped forward. The yin chi was torn apart. It formed a circle of ripples. Her hand chopped down on the ghost head. With a scream, the ghost head exploded. The roaring flame blade was a young martial art. It had a natural restraining effect on yin chi. Therefore, the ghost head did not gain any advantage. But of course, the ghost general's strength was not limited to this. The moment the ghost head exploded, he suddenly attacked. The cold glint of his blade chopped down. A cold wind blew. A burst of cold air rushed from the soles of Marshall's feet to the space between her eyebrows. For a moment, she was almost frozen solid. Her expression changed. She quickly retreated. Only then did she avoid this fatal strike. The ghost head blade chopped down on the ground. A gully extended to the soles of her feet. She tiptoed and quickly retreated. The ghost general did not let her go. Like a shadow, he chased after her. Chapter 171. Seeing both sides chasing one another, Tang Zheng and the other two quickly chased after them. Tang Zheng picked up the ghost messenger command plate and put it back into his pocket. Book Friends Group, this was a good treasure, he could not lose it. He saw that both sides had already reached the edge of the unmarked common graves. The ghost general was becoming more and more courageous, and although Marshall was slightly at a disadvantage, she was not completely defeated. Tang Zheng could not help but feel bored as his heart moved. If I go up and help the ghost general, then wouldn't this woman be finished? Just as he had this thought, Tian Chanzi hurriedly stopped him. Little brat, do you want to die? Let me tell you, while they are fighting fiercely, you should hurry and run. Otherwise, no matter who wins, you won't have a good time. Tang Zheng was shocked. That's right, the ghost general was helping him, but that did not mean that the ghost general was his friend. The ghost general was here to investigate the death of the messengers, so wasn't the messengers killed by him? This won't do. Hurry and run. What a pity. I don't know who will win and who will lose. It would be best if both sides are injured and die together. Tang Zheng cursed. This battle will definitely have a winner and loser. It cannot be reconciled. Otherwise, the ghost general will not be able to report back. So you can relax. Now you should hurry and find a place to hide. Tian Chanzi warned. Tang Zheng understood and hurriedly said, Ding dang, let's go, one less than or equal to right, let's go. What's the point of watching a ghost fight with a human? Let's go. Yi Ding Dang was eager to leave as soon as possible. She was still very afraid of the ghost general. The three people took advantage of the night and quickly ran out of the unmarked common graves. Marshall looked on helplessly and could not help but fly into a rage. Kill. The roaring flame blade and the ghost head blade collided. Fortunately, she slapped the back of the blade, otherwise her hand would have been cut off. The ghost general's strength was clearly a notch higher. The ghost head blade danced in the air and the ferocious ghost head danced in the air, circling around her like a tiger eyeing its prey. This ghost general is too powerful. If we continue to fight, I might not be able to gain any benefits. This brat actually has such a powerful helper. I really didn't expect that. Marshall already had thoughts of retreating. Although he was unwilling, there was nothing he could do. She used a hand blade to force the ghost general back and quickly retreated. However, how could the ghost general let her go? With a roar, 8 more ghost heads flew out from the ghost head blade. 9 ghost heads circled above her head, and a dense yin chi spread out. In an instant, she felt as if she was in the ghost world. All around her were the cries of ghosts and howls of wolves, disturbing her mind. To go against my ghost realm, only death awaits you. The ghost general shouted as the ghost head blade descended from the sky and chopped down. Marshall hastily blocked. However, it was precisely at this moment that she revealed a flaw. The 9 great ghost heads took advantage of this and closed in on her, biting her body. These ghost heads were not ordinary monsters. They actually directly penetrated her body and drilled in. She screamed as she blocked the ghost general's attack and fled in panic. The ghost general did not chase after her. Looking at the direction she fled, he gave a strange laugh. Ghost heads enter the body, death is certain. Then he went back to look for the ghost messenger token. However, he found that the token had disappeared without a trace. He suddenly remembered that there were still 3 people present. They must have taken it away. Without the ghost messenger token, how can he report back? No, he must find the ghost messenger token. He looked around and finally chose a direction and fiercely chased after her. Marshall used the fastest speed in her life to return to Ding Yi. Her face was already covered in black qi. The black qi grew more and more as if it wanted to completely occupy her body. Seeing her like this, Ding Yi turned pale with fright. What's wrong? Didn't you go to chase after that little girl? Marshall shook her head and wanted to speak but found that she couldn't breathe. She felt dizzy and directly fell to the ground. The black qi instantly covered her wheat-colored cheeks. It was extremely terrifying. What happened? Ding Yi was shocked. He had never seen such a situation before. He hurriedly checked her body, only to find that her entire body was ice-cold, as if she was an ice cube. Moreover, there was a strange energy rampaging through her body, devouring her bodily functions. Men, quickly send her back to the sect. Otherwise, there will be no saving her. Ding Yi made a prompt decision and immediately called for his subordinates to send Marshall away. There was no smile on Ding Yi's face as his expression became unprecedentedly solemn. He had not obtained any useful information from Marshall Mouth, but it was clear that she had been injured while chasing after that little girl. The most important thing was to find that little girl, only then would they be able to understand what had happened. There really is a cultivator hiding in ordinary balance. Otherwise, how could Marshall be injured like this? He thought as he wrinkled his eyebrows. Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang are stubborn. To make them speak is as difficult as climbing a mountain. Right now we can only find Yi Dingdang. But ordinary balance is not big or small. It is like looking for a needle in a haystack. What should we do? The local tyrant. Suddenly, he had an idea. After Tang Zhang and the other 2 left the ancient common graves, they found that they had no place to go. He could not go home, otherwise it would be bad if he implicated his grandfather. Could it be that he had to find Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang's whereabouts? He already understood that Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang were implicated by him. These people from the Marshall organization were clearly here because of the commotion yesterday. They were here for him, but Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang did not betray him, so they were captured. Thus, he had the duty and responsibility to rescue them. He absolutely could not let anything happen to them. Otherwise, Yi Dingdang would hate him to death and he would feel guilty for the rest of his life. The fear in Yi Dingdang's heart slowly disappeared. Her eyes regained their spirit and brightened as she looked at Tang Zheng. Even under the moonlight, it was difficult to conceal her curiosity and shock. Tang Zheng, so the Marshall organization was targeting you, right? And last night's incident with ordinary balance was also caused by you? Yi Dingdang asked with mixed feelings. This deskmate of hers was already considered a very familiar person. Yet he was still hiding such a big secret. If it was anyone else, they would also feel very complicated. Tang Zheng scratched his head and embarrassedly said, I also did not think that it would attract the attention of the Marshall organization. I did not even know about this organization before. This time your family suffered an unexpected calamity. I am really sorry. Yi Ding-dang snorted and said, you really hid it from us. You are actually a cultivator. That's right, what is a cultivator? It is not a thing. Ah. Pay, that's not what I meant. What I meant was that cultivators are the same as martial artists. The only difference is that they practice different cultivation methods. Martial artists focus on the interior of the body, using martial arts to cultivate inner strength, thus increasing their own strength, while cultivators absorb the spiritual qi of heaven and earth and transform it into their own true qi, which is similar to martial artists. It is not like what martial artists say, water and fire are incompatible, so we must destroy the other side. Tang Jing explained clearly. Yi Ding-dang suddenly came to a realization, so it's like this. I also feel that that woman and even that martial organization is making a mountain out of a molehill. This society is all-inclusive, how can they only allow one group to exist and exterminate the other? Tang Jing quickly gave a thumbs up and praised, very good insight. I also think so. But these people are really annoying. Although we have temporarily gotten rid of them, it does not mean that there will be no trouble in the future. Tang Jing felt very helpless. Wasn't he just practicing a cultivation method? He did not provoke anyone. Why did they have to exterminate him? First we have to save my family. Yi Ding-dang said impatiently. Tang Jing nodded solemnly, of course. Even if I have to risk my life, I will save Uncle Yi and Aunt Feng. But saving people requires strategy. My people will first find out where they are and then we will slowly plan. What do you think? Yi Ding-dang did not have a better idea. This was the only way. But the most important thing right now was not to find the other party's traces, but to increase their strength. Otherwise, even if they found the place, the three of them would only be sending themselves to death. No one would be able to save them. Tian Chanzi, it seems that we have to first find a carrier for you. Tang Jing said helplessly. Okay, then help me find a carrier. Tian Chanzi also agreed. But where to find it? Go to the morgue again. Tang Jing shook his head. That was definitely not possible. Who? A cold wind blew from the distance. Yi Ding-dang shivered and subconsciously hugged her arms, so cold. Cold. Tang Zhang's head suddenly tightened. This was not because the weather was cold, but because a cold wind blew. He immediately turned around and saw a figure quickly approaching under the night sky. Damn it, the ghost general has caught up. Damn it, how did he catch up so quickly? Tang Zhang was annoyed. Tian Chanzi was also very surprised. It seems that the death of the ghost messengers has caused a big disturbance in the ghost realm, so it has attracted a lot of attention. Otherwise, they would not have sent a ghost general. In order to go back and report, he must take back the ghost messenger's token and eliminate all related people. This is the usual style of the ghost realm. Anyone who dares to go against the ghost realm, they will not easily let go. Then what should I do? Tang Jing could only bitterly smile. He had inadvertently killed 2 ghost messengers and then summoned a ghost general. Although he had solved the problem of that powerful woman, he had also brought trouble to himself and brought an even more powerful enemy in front of him. It was really one wave after another. Tang Jing really wanted to ask the heavens, why am I so unlucky? What should we do? Run. The ghost general is not like that woman who just caught you, he will directly kill you. Tian Chanzi was not an alarmist. Even if they were separated by hundreds of meters, Tang Jing could already feel the other party's biting cold murderous intent. Quickly run. Tang Jing whispered, but found that Yi Ding-dang was indifferent. She stared at the ghost general, unable to hide her fear. Don't be afraid, if you continue to be afraid then you'll really die. Hurry up and run. Tang Jing grabbed her hand and staggered forward. Huang Xiang followed behind the two to block any possible attacks, but his feet did not stop. The ghost general was getting closer and closer. His skill was far superior to the three people, so his speed naturally could not be compared. "Stop, you dare to steal the ghost messenger's token, you must die." The ghost general's roar came from afar, which stimulated the three people to run faster. After all, no one wanted to die. But the ghost general's speed was also faster. In the blink of an eye, he was already behind the three people. The ghost head blade directly slashed at the three people. Chapter 172. Huang Xiang was the last to fall as he turned around and sent a palm strike towards the ghost head blade. Pang! Huang Xiang was sent flying over the top of the two people's heads. Tang Jing felt the yin qi behind him pressing down and did not dare to run anymore. With a backhand slash, Battle's soul slashed out. Clang! Sword and blade clashed as a crisp sound spread out in all directions. The ghost general was astonished. You're actually a cultivator, how rare." Tang Zhang and Yi Dingdang turned around and looked at the dense yin qi ghost general. Yi Dingdang's small face was a bit pale, but she still supported her body and did not fall. Tang Jing stared at the ghost general with a heavy face and asked, "If I return the ghost general's command medallion to you, will you let us go?" The ghost general flatly refused. "Of course not. Killing ghost messengers and stealing their command medallion is a capital offense. Since it's like this, then there's nothing more to say." Tang Jing held his sword horizontally in front of his chest and whispered to Yi Dingdang, "I'll hold him back, you quickly run. Not far ahead is the ordinary balance mountain. If you run up the mountain, he won't be able to catch up to you so easily." The ordinary balance mountain was already in sight. Under the night sky, they could faintly see the huge silhouette of a crouching beast. Yi Dingdang shook her head. "No, you're not his opponent. If I run, what will you do?" "Pound. I have my own way, you don't have to worry." Tang Zheng waved his hand. "Quickly run, otherwise it'll be too late." Seeing Tang Zheng's serious and anxious appearance, Yi Dingdang's heart was filled with an unprecedented warmth. She blurted out, "I won't go, I'll fight side by side with you. If it's a ghost then so be it, I'll get used to it and I won't be afraid." Her face was resolute as she bit her lips, clearly resisting the fear in her heart. "Why are you so stubborn?" Tang Zheng was helpless. Yi Dingdang curled her lips. "I'm stubborn, so what? My legs are mine. If I don't want to leave, no one can chase me away." Yi Dingdang understood that if she left, Tang Zheng would definitely die. Although she might not be of much help if she stayed, she still could not bear to let Tang Zheng face such a great danger alone. "Then listen to me. We'll fight while we run. Whether we can escape in the end will depend on our luck." This time, Tang Zheng wasn't absolutely sure. Even Tian Chanzi was silent. The danger this time was greater than any of the previous times. "Are you done blabbering on and on? It's time for you to be on your way." The ghost general roared and charged forward. Tang Jing quickly raised War Soul to meet the enemy. Bang! With just one strike, Tang Jing was sent flying. The ghost general's strength was much higher than his. Tang Zheng. Yi Dingdang turned pale with fright. Taking a deep breath, she finally mustered up the courage to charge at the ghost general. She did not inherit her parents' overly strong martial arts. Right now, she was using the Jade Women's Heart Sutra. The Jade Women's Heart Sutra was not only a cultivation method, but also a corresponding move. A pair of slender jade hands struck out. A biting cold chi spread out from the palm of her hand. Unable to withstand a single blow, the ghost general coldly shouted. The ghost general's head blade fiercely chopped down. It directly scattered the biting cold chi, causing her attack to immediately collapse. Yi Dingdang staggered back and sat on the ground. She stared blankly as the ghost general's head blade fell from the sky and directly chopped at her neck. She really wanted to scream, but it was too late. Huang Xiang, save her! Tang Jing roared. Huang Xiang rushed forward like a cannonball. He actually used his body to block in front of Yi Dingdang. He only left Yi Dingdang with his back and the ghost general's head blade that was chopping at his shoulder. Quickly retreat! Tang Zheng loudly shouted. Yi Dingdang finally woke up from her dream. She finally crawled up and quickly retreated. Then, she saw Tang Jing rush past her and charge at the ghost general. He knew that he was not a match for the ghost general, but he still wanted to fight because if he did not fight, he would die. The ghost general's head blade chopped at Huang Xiang's body, causing blood to flow. Suddenly, his body flashed with a black light. The black light completely wrapped around his body. The ghost general's head blade was unable to cut through. The ghost general was startled and said, "What is going on?" Tang Jing did not care about his surprise. The ghost general glanced at him. A ghost head flew out of the ghost general's head blade and bit at his neck. So, true fire spread out from the ghost general's head blade. It was as if the air was ignited by the true fire. It directly chopped at the ghost head. The ghost head let out a blood-curdling scream. It was enveloped by the true fire and instantly turned into ashes. "True fire, how did you do it?" The ghost general shouted in disbelief. He quickly withdrew his ghost general's head blade. Huang Xiang broke free and pressed on his own shoulder. The blood actually stopped flowing little by little. Then, a very strange black color appeared on his face. His entire eye sockets were pitch black, as deep as the night sky. What is this thing? Strange, why did I encounter so many strange things today? The ghost general finally knew that the person in front of him was not a simple person. The opponent's body was like steel. When he chopped down just now, although it cut through the opponent's flesh, it was difficult to cut through the opponent's bones. The bones were even more powerful than his ghost general's head blade. Now that he saw the might of the true fire, he did not dare to underestimate it. It was simply beyond his scope of understanding. Of course, he recognized the true fire. But he also knew that the true fire was only used to refine pills. It could not be used to attack. But the person in front of him was able to do it. Although the opponent's cultivation was not much, this strange thing made him not dare to underestimate it. In the end, who are you? The ghost general pointed at Tang Zheng and asked. Tang Zheng coldly snorted and did not answer. He stood shoulder to shoulder with Huang Xiang. Glancing at Huang Xiang, he saw that he was completely fine and relaxed. "Brat, fortunately, my puppet strength has improved a lot these past few days. It has already reached the 2nd grade natal stage. Its bones have already been forged into steel, so it was able to withstand the opponent's attack." Tian Chanzi rejoiced and said, "In the future, when my puppet's cultivation reaches the pinnacle, from the inside to the outside, from the bones to the muscles, it will reach the realm of invulnerability. Even magic weapons will find it difficult to injure it. But right now, it is still too weak. It can only withstand the ghost general's attack. But as long as the opponent attacks a few more times, it will be chopped into pieces." Tang Jing did not have the heart to sigh at the magical puppet technique. He only looked at the ghost general and said, "If you want to fight, then fight. Why so much nonsense?" The ghost general flew into a rage, acting recklessly. "You think you can stop me with just this? Kill!" In a flash, 9 ghost heads flew out from the ghost head blade and directly covered Tang Zheng's body, causing a cold wind to howl around him. Tang Zheng wanted to use his true fire to attack the ghost heads, but he suddenly felt a power stirring within the battle spirit. Battle spirit. This power was very familiar. It was the power of the battle spirit. With a thought, he suppressed the true fire, only to see the war soul sword humming and trembling. The black light expanded, and a huge monster flew out from the war soul sword, flying straight towards the 9 ghost heads above his head. So. This huge monster was of course the battle spirit. It moved like lightning and directly grabbed the 9 ghost heads and stuffed them into its mouth. With a kacha sound, it chewed and swallowed them into its stomach. Seeing this scene, the ghost general was inexplicably shocked. You actually raised an evil spirit. This was too unimaginable. This cultivator was too strange. How could his subordinates be filled with such strange things? During this period of time, the evil spirit had been nourished by the battle spirit. Its strength had greatly increased. In its hand, there was a large blade condensed from yin qi. The battle spirit roared towards the sky and charged towards the ghost general. Tang Zheng was also shocked to see this scene. Originally, he had absorbed the battle spirit into the black sword on a whim. He did not expect that there would be such an opportunity today. Brat, your luck is really good. The ghost general's strong yin qi caused the battle spirit to react. That's why it jumped out. Tian Chanzi sighed. Tang Zheng was incomparably delighted. This time he had a huge helping hand, and the outcome of this battle would be uncertain. Yi Dingdang was indescribably frightened as she saw the huge monster fly out from Tang Zheng's sword. Her eyes rolled back and she was about to faint. Tang Zheng's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. He quickly supported her and ruthlessly pinched her philtrum. Only then did she wake up. She trembled as she said, is it a ghost? Even though her nerves had gradually become bigger, this scene still scared her to death. Especially when the battle spirit was like a small mountain. It was even more oppressive. Tang Zheng nodded his head and said, don't be afraid. It's with us. Yi Dingdang said with a bitter face, where did you find these ghost things? This was a coincidence. Do you normally carry them with you? That's right. Yi Dingdang's eyes rolled back and she almost fainted again. She gasped for breath and said, then you sit by my side every day. That means I'm with these things every day. Tang Zheng awkwardly coughed. It was indeed so. Tang Zheng, I'm going to kill you. Yi Dingdang bit her lip. She was about to cry. Hey, Yi Dingdang, aren't you very brave? Why are you so afraid of ghosts? Tang Zheng was baffled. Was this still the usual fearless Yi Dingdang? I'm not afraid of people. I'm afraid of ghosts. Don't you know? I don't even dare to watch horror movies. Tang Zheng's forehead was filled with black lines. He quickly comforted her, don't be afraid. These are our helpers. Quickly stand still. I'm going to help. 3 against 1, we may not necessarily lose. Little brat, I advise you to quickly run. Although the puppet and battle spirit can restrain the ghost general, the two sides are not on the same level. As long as the battle drags on, they will definitely not be able to defeat the ghost general. At that time, it will be too late for you to escape. Tian Chanzi earnestly advised. Tang Zheng was startled. Originally, his confidence was high, but now, he was doused with cold water that chilled his heart. Looking at Huang Xiang and Battle Spirit who were fighting a bloody battle with the Ghost General, the two of them did not feel anything. Therefore, they did not care about anything. Their killing intent soared. Even if they were cut several times, they were still full of energy. Tang Zheng clenched his teeth. Should he leave or not? If I don't leave, they can give up their lives to protect me. If I leave, will I still be human? Even if I have to leave, I will take them with me. I will not leave Battle Spirit behind. Don't you also want to make your puppet into a reinforced steel body? If I leave, then wouldn't your wish be dashed? Therefore, I will fight side by side with them. Tang Zheng was determined. Little brat, you are courting death. Tian Chanzi cursed. Tang Zheng did not pay attention to Tian Chanzi. Holding Battle Spirit, he rushed forward. Chapter 173. Heaven Flying Immortal, a sword pierced through the air, piercing through the gap between Huang Xiang and Battle Spirit. The group of ghost generals hurriedly used their ghost head blades to block. As the blades clashed, a burst of true fire instantly ignited the ghost head blades. However, the ghost general could not be compared to Daoist Jinji. With a shake of his arm, the ghost head blades fiercely rolled twice, extinguishing the true fire and then fiercely chopped towards Tang Zheng. Roar! Battle Spirit raised his blade to meet the attack while Huang Xiang circled behind the ghost general. Attacking from the front and back, he was attacked from the front and back. The ghost general faced the sky and roared. With a loud roar, the ghost head blades danced. In an instant, the ghost head blades were everywhere. Pang pang pang. With three muffled sounds, Tang Zheng and the other two were simultaneously sent flying. Tang Zheng spat out a mouthful of blood as his true qi was in chaos. He hurriedly revolved the ancient clear heaven scroll, suppressing the agitated true qi. However, he saw the ghost general pouncing towards him. Battle Spirit and Huang Xiang had already disregarded their own safety and stood in front of him. The three sides fought fiercely, causing the atmosphere between heaven and earth to become chaotic. The dust on the ground flew up as if it had been attacked by a sandstorm. The yin qi condensed into a tornado that soared into the sky. Huang Xiang and the war spirit were simultaneously swept up. Roar roar. They angrily roared but were unable to resist this tornado. They were in the air and unable to land. Little brat, I already said that you are not his opponent. Quickly run. Tian Chanzi anxiously advised. Tang Zheng's gaze fell on the ghost general. The ghost general's face revealed a sinister smile. With a wave of his blade, the tornado brought Huang Xiang and Battle Spirit into the distance. Without help, what other methods do you have? The ghost general approached step by step, arrogantly asking. Tang Zheng's face was calm as he gripped Battle Spirit with both hands. He did not retreat. So, as the ghost head blade chopped down, Tang Zheng raised the battle soul with both of his hands. Dang! A muffled sound rang out, and Tang Zheng's body was involuntarily pressed into the ground. Another mouthful of blood violently spurted out, and the agitated true qi in his body once again became chaotic. You actually managed to block my blade. Then, take another one. The ghost head blade once again chopped down, and Tang Zheng once again raised his sword, but the ghost head blade did not descend. Unknowingly, Yi Dingdang actually hugged the ghost general's body and loudly shouted, Tang Zheng, hurry and run. Tang Zheng was shocked. In order to save him, Yi Dingdang actually overcame her fear of the ghost general and hugged him. But in front of the ghost general, she was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. She shouted, don't. But it was too late. The ghost general's palm landed on her back. Puff! Spitting out a mouthful of blood, she weakly fell to the ground. Tang Zheng's eyes instantly turned crimson red, the innate qi went berserk, and whizzed upwards. Boom! A loud sound came from within his body. His innate qi uncontrollably jumped to 7 inches. In that instant, he broke through to the 7th grade refining qi. Last time when he took the spirit pill, if not for Daoist Tianji interrupting him, he would have already broken through to the 7th grade refining qi. The innate qi that he had accumulated over the past few days suddenly erupted, breaking through the bottleneck. A powerful aura burst out from his body and soared into the sky. His mind was enlightened, and he actually comprehended the 4 forms of the transcendent flying immortal. A total of 24 forms of the transcendent flying immortal were displayed. He was like an immortal descending from the heavens, the battle soul sword completely enveloping the ghost general. Dang dang dang. The ghost general used his blade to block. Sparks blossomed from the collision of the blade and sword. It was exceptionally dazzling, but it was filled with killing intent. Puff! The ghost general's shoulder was cut by the sword, and a large piece of flesh flew out. The ghost general was enraged, he was actually injured by the opponent. This was too inconceivable. The ghost general angrily roared, and the ghost head blade once again rolled up a tornado. Seeing that Tang Jing was about to be swept up by the tornado, Tang Jing hurriedly landed on the ground. He picked up Yi Ding Dang and turned to run. This time he did not hesitate. Although he temporarily broke through and forcefully increased his strength to injure the ghost general, this was like igniting a barrel of gunpowder. The ghost general's anger had been completely ignited, and he would definitely kill him without any hesitation. He had to escape, and he also had to save Yi Ding Dang. Yi Ding Dang had already fainted. Her face was deathly pale, and he did not know how serious her injuries were. Tang Jing temporarily did not care about her injuries, and could only madly run towards the ordinary balance mountain. Roar roar roar. The ghost general faced the sky and roared, his voice shaking the wilderness, "I will scatter your soul, and not a single one of you will be able to escape." Dong dong dong. The ghost general took large strides to catch up, one in front of the other, leaving behind only an afterimage in the night. Suddenly, 2 figures appeared in front of him, Huang Xiang and War Soul. They were taken away by the tornado, and finally landed on the ground. Their injuries were not light, but they still rushed back to help Tang Jing. "Quickly run!" Tang Jing shouted. The 2 quickly turned around and followed behind Tang Jing, escorting him to the ordinary balance mountain. In an instant, both sides arrived at the foot of the ordinary balance mountain. This was not the front of the ordinary balance mountain, but the back of the mountain. The back of the mountain was a steep cliff. Tang Jing had picked the heaven-fragrant flower on this cliff, so he was very familiar with it. But the key point was that this cliff was like a knife and axe, and there was no way to escape. Tang Jing was extremely anxious. In this dark night, in his panic, why did he not run to the front of the mountain, but instead came to the back of the mountain? This was really bringing about his own destruction. Tang Jing and the others stopped, and the ghost general also stopped. He jokingly said, "Why aren't you running? Run! Roar!" War Soul and Huang Xiang rushed forward at the same time. Even if they were to die, they would die in battle. They would absolutely not allow themselves to be captured. Tang Jing gently placed Yi Ding Dang down. She was still unconscious, and Tang Jing firmly said, "Ding Dang, as long as I still have a breath in me, I will definitely protect you." Then he raised his sword and rushed forward. The ghost general was immensely proud of himself. The ghost head blade's power was extraordinary, and under the fierce attacks of the 3, it did not fall into a disadvantage. Instead, it was Tang Jing and the others who had more wounds on their bodies, looking battered and exhausted. The 3 of them retreated as they fought, and finally retreated to the front of the mountain. Unable to retreat, the ghost general blocked the attacks of War Soul and Huang Xiang, and then in a flash released a killing move towards Tang Jing. The ghost head blade flashed with a black light, and the ghost general brought an unparalleled momentum towards Tang Jing. Tang Jing's War Soul was struck down with a clang, and the ghost head blade was about to cut off Tang Jing's neck. He took advantage of the opportunity to roll on the ground, and the ghost head blade brushed past his hair, directly cutting into the cliff. There was no sound of stone being split, and there was not even the slightest sound of impact as the ghost head blades sank into the cliff. Yes, it was not the cliff that was split open, but the cliff was like a quagmire, and the ghost head blades sank into it. A huge suction force instantly engulfed the ghost head blade. The ghost general was shocked. What is going on? But before he could react, he had already sunk into the cliff with the ghost head blade. Ah, no! The ghost general screamed, and in a flash, disappeared into the cliff. Tang Zheng was dumbstruck as he looked at this scene. What was going on? How did the ghost general disappear? The cliff seemed to have a huge suction force, swallowing the ghost general. Tian Chanzi, quickly take a look, what is going on? Tang Zheng quickly asked. Tian Chanzi's voice sounded, and he was somewhat excited. The heavens have not forsaken you, little brat. The place you chose is not a dangerous place, but a place of life. Don't speak in riddles, quickly tell me what is going on. Tang Zheng's curiosity was completely aroused. This is an array, and if my guess is correct, it should be the 10-direction killing array. This is an offensive array, and as long as someone touches this array, they will be thrown into the killing array, and as long as their skills are not enough, they will be killed by the array. 10-direction killing array. Tang Zheng was shocked. This was the first time he had heard of this array, but the key point was, why would there be an array here? This ordinary balance mountain certainly has a certain origin in the past, so someone arranged the 10-direction killing array here. Just now, when he was attacking, he accidentally touched the killing array, and was thrown into it. Then where did the ghost general run off to? Of course he is inside the 10-direction killing array. Tang Zheng's eyes shined as he stared at the cliff. Could it be that this 10-direction killing array is inside the cliff? Of course, but this 10-direction killing array must be to protect something, otherwise, it would be impossible to arrange such a fierce array for no reason. Tian Chanzi suspiciously said. You mean to say that there is something precious behind the cliff, and this 10-direction killing array is protecting that thing? If my guess is not wrong, then it should be like this. Little brat, later on we must go in and take a look at what is inside. Since there are so few cultivators under the heavens, then this 10-direction killing array is particularly strange, we must figure it out. Tian Chanzi excitedly said. He really wanted to figure out what had happened in the past 1,000 years. Why were there so few cultivators? Tang Zheng's heart moved. Of course he also understood his intentions. He also had the same idea. Now that he had become a different kind of cultivator, if he did not figure out the reason, then he would be too passive. Then do you think the ghost general will be killed after going in? This was the question that Tang Zheng was most concerned about. If there is no movement, then he must be dead, otherwise he would have already started fighting inside. The ghost general facing the 10-direction killing array does not have much power to fight back. Tian Chanzi said as a matter of fact. Doesn't that mean that if I go in, then I will also die? Tang Zheng's head darkened. This fierce array was enough to kill even the ghost general. If he rushed in, then he would simply be seeking his own death. Little brat. How can you be so unconfident? The ghost general accidentally entered the killing array, but we are fully prepared, of course it is different. Moreover, don't you still have me? With me here, the 10-direction killing array will not be able to do anything to you. Tian Chanzi said confidently. Don't boast shamelessly and lie to me. If I go in and die, then you will not be able to be reborn. Tang Zheng said with trepidation. Nonsense, why would I lie to you? It is only the 10-direction killing array, I can definitely guarantee your safety. Tian Chanzi was questioned, he was very indignant. Tang Zheng laughed mischievously, he was sure that Tian Chanzi definitely had a way, his eyes couldn't help but light up as he stared unblinkingly at the cliff. What was behind it? You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.